Hi, my name is Bob Grinier and I'm a volunteer with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. So can everyone hear me this beautiful Sunday, the 7th of April, 2024? If you can, let me know. Thank you very much, Phil Dubois. And Phil Dubois is in the house, literally. He came over earlier this week with a few samples, shall we say, from Malcolm Bendall of the old 8-year-old large thunderstorm generator that had been running in Australia for about 500 hours. And we took 2 days this week, Thursday and Friday, to have a look at that. And he joined me in the lab looking at the samples on the Thermo Scientific SEM. So hi Brandon Boulton, hi Gordon Doherty, Vanilla Isis, Craig Misunderstood, Gaia Zine, and Phil Dubois, of course, Tucker Tries, Nick Knock, Gen Pratt, Corky Goss, Laura, NG Artifact, D2105K. It's great to have you, David, Stadbar, Craig. And we have it, Malcolm Indeed, also in the house. Hi, Luke Threadgold. Thank you for joining us this evening. Great. Okay, hi, Phonic as well. So, deep impact. How we're going to play this is I'm going to show you a couple of slides just for you to think about and ponder as we look at this. And the first up is this slide, which was one of the images that I gave to Takaaki Matsumoto almost this time last year. And what you have on the top left there is the carbonized film that got produced in his explosive cold fusion so-called experiments. And you can see the 1mm scale down the bottom here. Down the bottom you have this generation of carbonized film containing iron. And we have a little ball down the bottom here. He didn't really go into whether that was the iron that he was referring to, but it certainly looks familiar. And on the right here, you will recall many videos in extreme detail of the VEGA Valley Eastern Plateau. And the interesting thing about the Eastern Plateau is it also had this little ball with 2 toroids coming out of it. And it was spewing this tail of, well, you can see here, predominantly carbon. Of course, there's oxygen that you can see through in the background, and we have copper and zinc, which were in the substrate. So this is all copper zinc oxides. So this is an isolated one with toroids coming out of the weak point, as I refer to it, and a gloopy blob tail of carbon-rich material coming out of the back. But if you actually look at the carbon film here, you'll notice that at each of these sort of Orion's nebula type structures, there is one of these iron-rich crenellated spheres. There's an iron-rich crenellated sphere here. There's an iron-rich crenellated sphere here. In fact, there was one with this little shepherd's crook around it. It would be here. And when I put the electron gun here, this one jumped. And down here, we have an iron-rich crenellated sphere, a very big one, relatively, to a very small one that's at the end of a tail here, or this very small one that's at the end of a tail here. And so this is a pattern, and in here, there's even a comet tail. We can zoom into this, actually, and you can see it in higher detail, and maybe we will do that later. So this is something to think about. And also, there are many things to think about in the work of Takaaki Matsumoto And for those of you that downloaded it, or you have it to hand here, you can flick through this book and you will find many examples that might help you understand what you are going to see today. So these filamentary carbon structures, these spiky line type structures, these hop skipping structures and structures that are making their way through the material, these filamentary carbon spiraling structures with 2 filaments in them. More filamentary carbon type structures. Yeah? So we'll come back to this. There is one other example that I want to give you, which is of the eco fuel. And this was given to me by one Suhas Raukart in 2017. And it was in a fresh plastic container. And by the time I got it back, it was already showing signs of decay. And after a period of time, it looked like this, where you had these tracks that were nucleating at a point here. So there's a point there and there's a tracks coming out. There's a point here, there's a point here, tracks coming out. And these tracks were able to damage the material. So bearing in mind this was ultrasonically produced fuel for his reactor, yeah? And it was produced in 4.5 kilowatts of ultrasound over something like 200 hours. And it produced these star-like structures, which were also observed by Matsumoto. But they were delayed in that they weren't there initially. So you can imagine that the structures were stable for a period of time. I'm not suggesting that they were moving around in the material, but for whatever reason, at some point, their containment failed and something came out of them that was able to produce these explosive type tracks that then traveled along the interface between the plastic and the fuel and damaged the plastic often in a double sort of railroad track type effect, and sometimes splitting up into subtracks, as you can see here and up the top here. Okay, branching as they go. All right. One other thing that I want you to bear in mind as we go into this is the 2D O structure. And we have noticed that there is this disruption area down here. And you can see it here tearing apart tungsten with this spot here. Okay. And carbon being ripped off. So the tungsten, in theory, is being converted into carbon somehow by whatever this structure is doing. And the caduceus beam is coming down. Is that the thing that's doing it? Whatever. In an ultra experiment, you can see that this disruption area here, this beam area here in this particular one is within this circle. As you can see, is within this circle, although it's skewed over to one side with the carbon filaments or carbon sort of plume coming up here. Like this has a curve that goes like that, it's like a S, yeah? You still have the S here, the S is there, the S is there. So this is a circle of influence from this overall structure. Now bear that in mind as you see what you are going to see. I still have 2 hours to edit of this. So I'm going to play 2 sequences. The first sequence, of course, is 33 minutes long. Then we might have some discussion on that. Then we're going to play the second sequence. And hopefully by the end of that, I will have edited the rest. And there we go. So without further ado, are you ready? Set.
Hi, my name is Bob Greenyer, and I'm a volunteer with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project.
Okay, we're going to determine which is the better imaging here.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on in this spot either.
Ah, you see, but then that's possibly...
To the untrained eye. Oh, you know what? That's probably one of those little reflective flakes.
Yes.
Malcolm was asking about that.
Yes.
So let's take a peek.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to establish the highest quality imaging approach here. So that's at 5 kilovolts. BSD. Looks like it's charging, so it might have a higher silicon component to it. And it might be a piece that's from here, and then it's broken off and reattached itself. I'm not overly impressed with that, so we'll try it up with a little higher beam energy. Because I want to do a little bit of map, but I want to try and get it as high quality as possible. That looks already a lot better. Oh, look how we got a beautiful worm structure here and another one here.
Yeah.
This looks like maybe a... Oh, I like that one.
Gordian knot action.
Yeah. It's funny, you don't see them at all, and then once you see them, you recognize them. It's like the new word which you learned in the language, right? I'm going to try one more shot at this by pumping that to 15 and see if it gets a better image yet. Yeah, I think it's too much energy there for imaging, although we're certainly seeing our structure here. Since we're here, we'll have a look at this guy. It was the story of yesterday. We'll try BSD on that. Dial that back down to 10. I kind of like that. So I am going to, I'll take a shot of this so we understand what these flakes are. And we'll then look at that. Right, so let's do what your man wants. For you, Malcolm, the shiny flake, possibly. First candidate of shiny flake. And this is, what is that? Iron and oxygen. It might be that it's extremely flat. And so it's almost like a metallic mirror.
Yeah, that's a very interesting color change, though, depending on the orientation you look at it.
Yeah. Well, it might have a thin film of carbon on there, and thin films create iridescent effects. So you like have a reflective background, and then the thin film. Like, imagine oil on water, which is a hydrocarbon on water. And over here is our little wormy guy. Now, are these two coming together? Would you say?
It almost looks like this was coming this way, and then there was one coming up here that took a little...
Maybe.
Because that's clearly the head of this one. Although that one just kind of looks like a piece of debris over on the right there.
They're definitely trying to associate with each other, aren't they? Whatever they are.
You think it's at all possible that we're looking at these backwards? That maybe they start there and then move and then peter out?
Yeah, entirely possible.
So in that case, maybe it started here and then split off.
Yeah.
Orthogonally. Yeah. Kind of kicked one little leg of it out. That almost seems maybe more likely even. Slow ending over a slow beginning.
I think we're inflating these with the high energy at the moment.
I was going to say, yeah.
These are now bigger than they were earlier.
Swelling them up a little bit?
They've definitely swollen.
Because you went to 15 electron volts?
Yeah. So I'm firing a lot higher energy at them now.
Is that the maximum?
15 kilovolts and MAP is the highest amount of electrons and the highest energy. Yeah, so they've nearly inflated to the same size as the head now. I'm going to let them sit until they can... They're still inflating. Oh, dear.
Are they?
Yeah. It's funny because we'll be able to speed up this video. So I'm leaving it here.
Cool.
We'll be able to see them.
Oh, yeah. I kind of see it wiggling a little bit.
The interesting thing is, are we going to make one of them burst? Or it might just be that they're melting and spreading out. Right, let's see if we got nitrogen in these guys.
Yeah, what do you think? Carbon, nitrogen?
I think it's going to be carbon and nitrogen,
That's
yes.
what I think, too.
There's the carbon coming into view. The nitrogen will be behind it. It's a bigger area, so the samples, you've only got like 250 by 250. So sometimes it's better to just say, like, literally go for that bit, which I might do. Or you can change in here. Oh no, it'll tell the same story.
It's still congregating around.
Yeah, so here you can say map resolution, and then you can say how much time it's spending. You know, you can actually spend a lot of time on a pixel, and you can change the resolution here. So
I think it's getting more data from it. Yeah, it's
getting more data, and it's getting the same story we had yesterday. I think we know what these are. The question is, do we want to see if we can find them associated with another structure, or whether they are just pure carbon-nitrogen ones, like they're a species that have just captured carbon and nitrogen. Of course, nitrogen's in the air.
I mean, you would assume if you have an Evo plowing through this, leaving these behind in its wake, that you'd find a microsphere nearby, yes?
Well, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Is it one? Is it an exotic vacuum object that has only captured? It was born in the air stream, and the air is predominantly nitrogen and carbon, right? Obviously, there's oxygen in there, but it's a hydrocarbon. You're not going to see the hydrogen. So the two most abundant elements are carbon and hydrogen. So this might be born in the actual volume of the gas.
And then it floats down to the surface.
When it dies, it's just crashed into the surface. Oh. Whereas the other ones are actually born on the metal.
Right.
They're capturing the metal.
So these could just be formed floating.
Yeah. But this is telling an interesting story because this is actually active in the volume of the gas.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than actually in these. This is like a diachron instability or a magnetic island forming inside a tokamak. It's actually a resonant node in the volume of the fluid.
Right.
And the fluid in this case is a mixture of hydrogen, well, basically air and a hydrocarbon and water. That is what the materials are. And so it's formed at a resonant node in there, and then it's doing its work, and
that actually would explain, you know, if you have these resonant nodes and standing waves, maybe this explains this sort of kelpy.
Maybe this is a whole series of them that was in the air, and their overall structure interacted with one behind, and they became bound, and so it ends up as a bead string.
Yeah, and so maybe it's not spiraling through a structure. Maybe they're just suspended there, and they reach a certain amount of mass, and they get attracted to the surface. That's interesting because, you know, with the thought with that. You know, with the shoulder stuff, whereas the EVOs are setting up in the grains of the metal, you kind of imagine like this is where the work is happening.
Yeah,
but
it is a focal for sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like sound also, so in the Telearchan system, the fluid is water, and the actual spot, the soniffusion is in the middle of the fluid. It's not on the surface of the things.
This would be an unbelievably high frequency, though. Well, if this is your standing wave.
Well, yeah, maybe not. Well, yes. So you're looking at what is the distance there? We can actually work it out.
It's like 5 microns between each node.
Let's not guess. Let's work it out. Let's do a 3D scan here.
So what the hell? What sonic frequency is that? And maybe it's not a sonic frequency. Maybe it's an electromagnetic frequency.
It's a phonon. It's an ultrasound frequency. You can work out what you need to do is you need to say. Our gases are at, say, 400 degrees centigrade. They're comprised of nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon, right? And so let's say that's our fluid. What is the ballpark speed of sound through that?
Right.
And I'm not saying sound you can hear. I'm saying ultrasound.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that is maybe giving us our story. Okay, so this one's quite nice. So we can see our periodicity here is there to there. And we can find out what the distance is between there by clicking on, let's just check. I don't know why that comes in so dark, but anyway, there and there, let's say.
It's a little too long. Let's see.
So it's 6.6 micron or whatever between the nodes, 5 micron. I think we worked this out yesterday. It was roughly 6 or 5 microns. But there's the node there. And
yeah, that looks better.
There, right. So it's about 5 micron, the distance between them.
Yep.
So these could be EVOs born in air,
Mm-hmm.
And it could be electromagnetic frequency.
Right.
Right? So that's actually quite a low frequency of light, isn't it?
Yeah, what would that be?
Well, okay, so microwave in your microwave is 12.5 centimeters.
Right, I was going to say that's in centimeters.
Right? So this is actually a lot higher frequency than that.
Yeah, so this would be what, X-ray?
Terahertz? It could be thermal vibrations.
That's it?
Maybe.
Yeah, infrared.
It could be thermal.
Huh.
Anyway, you can go to a frequency calculator and type in 5 microns and find out what it is. And we'll know, and it won't be guesswork.
If only we had the technology
if only we had like
to investigate such a thing.
Yeah, if only. Right, so there we go. That's that. I'll save that as well. I've got to call this yum yum yum. What are we calling these? Sperm ones?
Get your mind out of the gutter, Bob.
Sperm.
It's always balls and tubes and sperm. I think.
Spermo 1? Right. Actually, it's Spermo 3 because we had a lot of spunk all over our sample yesterday. Oh dear. Do you know where to go?
Just my
internet. I can when we do the map, I'll do go to the frequency calculator. I've got it. You can search it and find it easily.
Convert wavelengths into micrometers.
Yeah, just say wavelength to frequency calculator, and then you type in 5 microns and work out what frequency it is. Okay.
You can look for another one.
No, I was just going to set up a map to do a map, but hopefully in an area which is focused over a wide range, a wide distance. That is a piece of detritus from someone cutting a disc. Someone, and not mentioning any names. I'm going to keep that between you and me. The only 2 people that know.
You can sell the spheres. I'll sell the pieces of detritus.
Man, thanks for giving me the better deal.
Well, the detritus is easier to make.
Well, that's
supply and demand.
That's true.
Maybe not actually. Maybe not. How long does it take to make a quadrillion scraps of iron with a grinder wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe meters. So what's that? 0.001 meters.
Here, look. Here's another one of your pieces of scrap.
That's at least a cool. At least I'm.
Are you paying by length?
At least I'm working towards some helical structure now.
So this, guys, is what a fragment from a cutting disc looks like. Yeah, it's not an iron-rich crenellated microsphere.
Or tube.
Or tube.
Or a carbon nitrogen tube.
However, these look like tubes.
Yes, they do.
And they look like they may have a head. And these are rather long.
Those look kind of embedded.
Ooh, hello.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
These look like channels. Oh, look, there's a twist.
This looks like a birth point.
It's twisting.
Yeah, it looks like a birth point.
Counterclockwise, it looks like.
I like this because it's very long. Look at this.
Whoa.
And it's spreading out here. And it's spreading out here.
Oh, cool.
Oh, this is lovely. Wow. Look at it. It's going all the way up here and it's kind of dying out here. Okay, we want to do a section over this. We're going to do a map over this if we can possibly get a map over this.
Sounds like 108 degrees to you?
What?
108 degrees? Don't worry, we won't go there yet.
Yeah, probably best not to. Right, I like this because this looks like the birthing point.
Yeah.
So, let's see if we can get this at the best resolution possible. And what is it better to look at this with? Let's go to BSD first.
Would we say 5 microns was the spacing between those nodes?
5 microns, yeah. Yeah, this is really interesting because this actually looks like the source of this material. And it's shooting out. And it's, look where we are. We're on the...
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge of this wave structure here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to want to do a map in that area. There's another one down here. Look, I'm going to record my position here. Can I record my position here? What's this? I didn't ask for that. Okay, all right. There is another one down
60
here.
60 million megahertz? Could that be right?
60 megahertz.
Is that what?
That's 60 gigahertz. Yeah, that's in microwave, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you change the end. You can change the end thing to gigahertz. Gigahertz.
Can you?
Right? Well, in some of them you can. Not that one,
What's
obviously.
this one? 60 gigahertz. Yeah. So that's
in the microwave. Isn't it?
microwaves.
We've got another birth point here. Look, and it's spreading out. Is that joining over to here? I don't know. We're gonna take a little bit of a map of this area.
Would the thunderstorm generator shield microwaves? Like, would you be able to detect them externally?
There's only one way to find out. If it is that frequency, we're going to be able to look for that frequency.
Just to press your face against it, see if it gets warm on the back of your head.
But hold on. Here's the thing: is that it's 12.5 centimeters is obviously 12.5 centimeters is actually centimeters. That's the wavelength of a normal microwave oven.
Yeah.
So that is the resonant frequency of an OH bond, and that's why it heats up things with water.
Right.
Okay. So we want to map that like this. Hopefully we can get it this time. We don't want a super resolution quality one, we're going to make the field of view bigger. So, and I'm going to turn off. I do want that on.
So it looks like we have a ball here, which we can have a look at later. And we're just coming on to our carbon fibers now. Another little ball up here. Oh, we've got some of these fibers here. Look at that. Huh. Growing into and out of this crust. Going out of there, along there, along there, along there, into this area here. Out there, along there, along there, along there. Huh. That's fascinating. Oh, there's our big one up here. Yeah, here, look at it. Growing out there, up there, up there. Check it out.
What I miss?
Well, it's just doing the sample, but look. Growing out of this crack here, across the top of this shiny surface, and plunging into different areas.
Oh, what?
It's like it's alive.
Dude, it's kind of gross.
Yeah,
It's
well.
like a parasite, like shooting in and out of of an organism. So it's tunneling through. Wait, is it popping back out?
Yeah, it's coming out of here. It's going off atop the surface and then in here, and then it's coming along here, and then
it's
in
going
here.
under and then out again?
Well, maybe, yeah.
Ah, creepy.
And look, it comes out under here and then out here, and then that's up here.
Oh, weird.
This is very cool. I like it a lot. And there's more of the action up here. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a closer look at this.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Found a nice ball as well, so we can really explore this. We'll see in a minute. It's up here. Let's see. Somewhere here. There.
Now, do I get any more balls, or is 2 the limit?
Well, I think we ought to name the next one after Malcolm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should have more than 2 balls.
We'll call it Malcolm's bendy balls.
How big is this guy? We don't want to give Malcolm too small of a ball.
No, this is a big ball.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You get all the small balls. Yeah, this is fascinating. Whatever's going on here is.
Yeah, it's like the Evo is just like dolphining in and out of the metal.
Something's going on, yes. So there's our reference little blob here. Yeah. Fragment of detritus here. It would appear
that's my attempt to recreate a spiral tube.
Yeah, it would appear that I had it on rotation, so that was flat across, whereas here it's straight. It's at an angle. That's okay. It revealed other structures, but we've got the structure we wanted, which is this one. But it looks like
is this even like connected to this one up here?
Yes, I think it is, and I think it's also connected to this one here.
Weird.
And it's like going under there, and then coming out here, and then going under there, and going down here. And is that the real birthplace? Is that where it was originally born?
It's like a vascular system.
Or is that what? I mean, you can imagine that it would come along here and branch. But you don't think it ended here because like the branching is there.
But on the other hand,
this one looks like a separate one.
Given the angle of these offshoots coming this way, it's like you'd almost wonder if they're traveling this way.
This is a different one. It just happens to have connected here.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but I think they may be coming this way.
Maybe.
Because why would it? If it's
hold on. If this come under here, did it branch here? And it came out here. It branched here into 3.
Oh yeah, that's your little node there.
Yeah. And then it's come down, and this one's reconnecting over here, and then ducking under here. This one looks like it's branched at this point on the top of the surface.
Because you wouldn't expect it to branch backwards.
No.
Right, so it's got to be coming this way.
This is what I'm reading this as here right now. It's come to here, and it's branched there, but it's also under the surface, branched under the surface to here and here.
Yeah. So keep going up. Like where'd this thing start? Because it looks like
I think it's from the original birthplace up here.
And so, maybe all this material right here.
Maybe. Because we've got the material going off that way.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Where's that one go?
This one goes all the way up here.
Cool.
All the way up here. And we've got it coming over here. And it looks like it's ducked under there. And is it come up here?
It's got a little tongue flickering out there.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Look at that. And then it terminates in a little spiral.
And then it's coming up here, and it's almost the death of it here.
Ew.
So yeah, we actually saw what would appear to be the nucleation point down here for the whole story.
Yeah, it's got to be right here.
Somewhere here.
Oh, are there any going up from here? Yeah, look.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
This is so cool.
Yeah, look, you can see there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to unrotate the viewpoint. And because we've overdone our section, but our section we actually want is a higher resolution, is this bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty special, isn't it?
Damn. It's like a slime mold.
It's kind of like that, but
like
it's going in and out of metal.
Right.
Tunneling and burrowing and splitting and reconnecting here. And, and this looks like its demise there. Now, what is the distance actually between here and this point, and here and this point up here? Which
and I wonder what's causing them to curve right here, right? Because these.
Well,
any number of things, vibration, more of these things that are going orthogonal to the plane.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But yeah, the origin of all of this seems to be somewhere here. And it could just be an Evo struck here.
Right.
And it just splayed out.
Yeah, exactly.
And its guts went away. Because you see them on the early images of Ken's shoulders. He has it there, and then the things go out, and they leave these carbonaceous trails.
Right.
Right?
And so you're probably only going to expect to see the stainless steel at that point.
Right, there we go. That's our map done here. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. And so now, I think what we want to do is try and capture that at a higher fidelity.
Yeah. How about even ludicrous fidelity?
I don't know whether we want to go ludicrous, but we do have to recognize we're at an angle, so we get the right framing. Okay, so we've actually got the right framing. We just need to close down the window.
That's why I included that piece of detritus there.
So that was very clever for you to deliberately place that there as a marker.
And I pointed it right at the impact site,
you
more
did.
or less.
So we'll come back and visit. Well, actually, let's go and visit that ball whilst we're here. Then we'll come back and point.
So that's kind of cool because that gives us a little bit of a heuristic in exploring the rest of this. Like if we see,
there we go.
That's Malcolm's ball.
That's Malcolm's ball.
Right,
so we'll go and visit Malcolm's ball.
If we see these pock marks from further away, maybe we'll see these tubes splayed out
coming from it. Yeah, and maybe what we're seeing is the end of those channels. I don't know. So let's go here. There we go. We've got our ball.
Oh, that's not that big.
No, it's not that big.
No, Malcolm needs a big ball.
Malcolm needs bigger balls.
This is a Phil-sized ball. But it does look very nice.
It looks nice.
Symmetrical, great shape.
Well, it's a more of a slightly.
It's got a little
ovoid shaped ball.
It's squeezed a bit.
Yeah, it's like a muchos huevos.
Nice correlation.
So this is not going to be the reason this is not perfectly spherical is because this has got chrome in it. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to have chrome in it.
What percent though, Mr. Brain?
More than 0.
Ooh, bold.
It's gonna have chrome and at least and maybe nickel in there as well. But yeah, we'll image that because we're here. So it's only when you get the pure iron and oxygen you get the really nice soft ones like your soft balls yesterday.
I like the hard balls.
I don't want your personal preference on balls.
I like the jaggedy, sharp balls, full of texture.
Right.
Weathered and wrinkly.
Okay. Alrighty.
Don't start what you can't finish, Bob.
I wasn't asking for any.
Yeah, no, I love them when they have these little like the kind of like triangle shards.
Yeah, but
and so you think that's a product of higher chrome?
It's the product of higher impurities. Now the question is the chrome taken from steel? Or is the chrome quad carbon?
The safe assumption is that it's from the steel.
I would argue, yeah, that's the first like Occam's razor type approach.
Yeah.
And it's just been picked up because it's in the matrix of the iron. But if the steel has a lower concentration of chrome than is in this, then did the chrome...
But it's also not magnetic, right? So it wouldn't really want to be...
No, but like if you're ripping out the iron and the chrome is in there as well, you're fluidizing the whole lot. Right. It's just coming along for the party.
Right.
You see how much less
fidelity. This one's a bit lumpy. We'll sell this one for $10.
Well, you know, there might be a preference for people that want shiny balls. And chrome is if it's got a chrome content, it's gonna be shiny ball.
That's a good point.
Like you don't really want to be the person that has all the dull balls.
You can have shiny or you can have smooth. You can't have both. It's not a perfect world.
Right.
I was sent here just to bring the intellectual prowess of this podcast down a peg.
Well, there we go. It's got 11%, 12% of chrome.
Look at you.
I said it's probably got chrome and nickel. There we go.
Mr. Brain over here.
No, it's because when you've seen this thing,
I know.
You see it over and over and over and over again.
I know.
It's called science. It's repeatable. Yeah.
I like it. I like how it has those kind of distinct channels.
Yeah, but that's like the dendritic structure. But the interesting thing is the dendrites are grown into a sphere.
Right.
Right? Like, and yeah, there we go. And these things are normal and hollow. You know, they haven't got any meat in them. Right, there we go. So that is as expected. We'll go back to our lovely map here. And there was a couple of other balls over here. The smaller ones.
Is that one up there?
No, it's just a lump of stuff. Over here. There was a nice one on here somewhere there. It's more spherical, so we might have more iron going on.
Tiny guy though, huh?
Yeah, well,
it's another fiber. I want a big fat 30. That's what I want.
Oh, you don't want much, do you?
30 microns is plenty.
Uh-huh.
What's the... And I'm really not meaning this to sound like an innuendo anymore. What's the biggest one you've seen?
You meant things to sound like an innuendo.
What's the biggest size microsphere you've seen?
Oh, you see, I'm telling you, smoother balls.
Whoa, that was really
more
tiny.
Like crenellated.
That was really tiny.
But he's got these friends carrying along with him. Look, these little things. But he's like a 2, 3, 4 micron one. But he's nice. You know, if you're going to image, I'm going to do the mapping on this just to see if it is almost entirely iron and oxygen. But like, I think people can accept now that it probably is.
Yeah. It's safe bet.
But we'll do it just because some people don't believe that it's science.
You keep saying that these people don't believe this. I don't think these people exist anymore.
Really?
Who is seeing these and saying this is not iron?
You know, there's some people that need to see something once, but then that's foolish. You've got to see it more than once.
I need to see it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, but when you see it 100 times in 15 different systems
but
by
it's
independent
never
authors.
Different. It's literally never different.
Well, when you get the proper iron-rich crenellated spheres like this one, so if we go here, this is, you know, I'm going to stick my neck out and it's going to iron and oxygen.
95%.
There you go. Atomic concentration, FeO2.
Yeah, even more than 95%.
Interestingly, this one has still got a little bit of chrome residual.
It's always going to have a little bit.
Well, not necessarily. The one yesterday didn't. It's given up on the chrome. I mean, look, you have to. There's definitely chrome there.
Yeah, it's there.
Right? So I'm going to manually put that in. Otherwise, it's going to ignore it. It's going to think it's praseodymium. It's not. It's chrome. Okay? It's not praseodymium. Stop it with the praseodymium. So there we go. I mean, it's even higher than FeO2, but like, whatever. I could image that at a higher quality by changing the beam energy, but I'm not going to. Just trust me, that could look nicer. Oh God, can I say that? No, I have to do it now, don't I? No, I don't want to. I don't want to change.
We have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I don't want to change the beam.
Let's go back to the tubes.
You want to go back to the tubes?
Because a sphere is a sphere. You know, it's.
Yeah, I know. You just want to see big spheres, don't you? Now?
Yeah, just one.
You've had it with just the predictability.
I'm tired of all these tiny little balls.
So that's the first section. Section 2 is coming up. In the next section, I want you to hold in mind these pieces of learning from Takaaki Matsumoto's Steps to the Discovery of Electronuclear Collapse. And that is that inside these spherical structures, electronuclear collapse can occur. And in this case, it's predominantly carbon that is being spewed out at the demise of the confinement structure. But depending on the material used, you get different morphologies. So this is kind of, I think this is a lead morphology. And over here, we have a cesium morphology, okay? Although they're largely spherical, in the case of the cesium, I think it is, if I recall rightly, they have these spikes coming out and so forth. And so it's not surprising, therefore, that when you had the work of Jurrien Huang in his DHX-2 reactor, you had these kind of morphology going on, and this is what is presented as we have seen when you have water cavitation in the environment containing at least predominantly copper. And we found that this surrounding material here in this video, Ode flux capacitor, was indeed copper and also phosphorus and carbon. Phosphorus may have been a passivator. We don't know because we didn't have the raw material, whatever. In almost all instances, it was carbon, phosphorus, and copper. And so we know that it interacts with a thin layer around the structure, and also that it interacts in waves, suggesting the underlying substructure has fractality. The other thing I want you to focus your attention on is this channel that you see here. As this exotic vacuum object, as this ball lightning-like structure was coming down here, the tornado that comes out of its base, you might like that to consider that the core of the apple, but the stalk rather of the apple, where the apple is fed, that's the tornado, touched down on the surface of the copper oxide here and started ripping it up. And that in turn would appear to have caused the structure itself to be pulled towards the surface until you can see a kind of maximum width here, okay? And you can see that this structure is, let's say, 20 microns across, but the internal structure here is smaller, even when it's crashed down. And so that's, in my view, what you are seeing here. This is the tornado type area, and it's this width, which happens to be basically the same width as one of the sub-THORs, but it's centered on the overall structure. Here you can see this circular area, which this carbon is on one side, but that the S shape is there. We have the S shape here, but it's this circular area that's deformed, and this is about the same width as the sub-THOR, and that is kind of what you're seeing here, not entirely, because it's fully crashing down. And of course, the last point here is that when this structure has died, you know, the sub-THORs can come out and go on their own merry way because they've still got their angular momentum, and they are still at their quantization level, still very intact, and they've kind of burst through here, you can imagine, and we've seen that in other images from the DHX-2. But the internal pressure, maybe, that one might consider was between those two sub-THORs of material held within the core has spewed out here, and we showed that this material is normally the kind of material that gets synthesized, supposedly synthesized in stellar synthesis. It's this mix of low mass elements up to iron and possibly up to nickel, but we didn't see nickel in this particular one as far as I can recall. But you get this sort of potassium, calcium, and silicon, and carbon, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and sulfur, and phosphorus, and chlorine, and these kind of things get synthesized in these structures. So bear that in mind when we go on to see the second video, which we are going to start now.
No, I want to go back to the
yeah, okay,
because there's just more emotion in those, you know.
There's a life story there,
right? Exactly.
Like the bulls are now like loners, whereas there's a whole story
going
going on.
Or so 4
this
months
thing
ago.
here is got a whole life story going on. Look at this. Look at this. It's going up here. It's going out here. Now these,
you know, look, is it 6?
I don't know. There's definitely 3.
It kind of looks like
but it. This, you know what this reminds me of?
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, I don't know. Maybe? I mean, there is not really one going this way.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this could have been
maybe there was one going that way.
Tunnel, and yeah, it's kind of. I mean, it's pointed right at that.
Yeah,
center.
yeah. Do I see any? Hold on, what's this? Ducking out and in.
So maybe he was going underneath that whole time.
Or maybe it shot out.
What's this little wispy one right there?
I don't know. It looks like it's attached to this one, where it's broken through. Maybe some instability and the substructure came over this way. I don't know. This is totally fascinating, though. You might be right. There might be a structure there. But here's the thing.
Because it's traveling through both of these, right? I mean, that could be...
We observed these star-like structures on the cavitation fuel of Suhas Ralkar in his containers. So over a period of time, some of these things blew up and they produced these star-like structures. And Matsumoto observed this as well.
Just in the stored fuel.
The stored fuel had none of these tracks, and over a period of time, some of them blew up and they left these star-like patterns.
With no cavitation event.
The cavitation was done for over 100 hours, 200 hours.
Oh, to produce the fuel.
To produce the fuel.
Gotcha.
And the fuel, after these things blew up, on the lines that they produced, it shredded the plastic.
Huh.
It literally, and these were often 2 lines.
Yep.
Right? I can show you it. Okay? In fact, I'll drop those images over here, and I'll also drop Matsumoto's star-like patterns that he observed.
I have his book here.
This is freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is another confirmation.
Here.
Have you got it there?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, here we go. So, like, where's his star-like objects?
Oh, on my Nepalese postcards.
His star-like, there we go. Your star-like products here.
Ah, look at that. Yep. Look at that. You gotta show that to the camera.
These star-like products here. I don't know whether that's doing it. Let's. Here, look, star-like products.
Here, I'll hold it right up.
Yeah, it's okay. We're there.
Got it?
We're there. Yeah, it's nice.
Cool. Yeah, there it is. Very cool.
So well done, Matsumoto. Again, it's like just brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah, he was way out there.
He was way ahead of his time. What an honor it was to be able to meet that guy. My God. And we're going to get some more material from him as well. From his family.
I never saw.
Now hold on a minute.
I never saw him do
what is this guy here?
Hold on. I never
is
saw
this at the end of this channel?
Is that our sphere?
I don't know.
Is that our leader head right there?
Well, I don't know. Let's go and have a quick look before we do another map here.
That looks like it might be debris.
It might be. Where is it?
I mean, I know that you've obviously seen this, but I just happened across that Vesica Pisces in the Matsumoto work.
Oh, yes, it's there. I've shown that image before as well.
I don't doubt it.
Okay.
Is that right there you're looking at?
It's this one here. Not convinced.
No. Very small. It's not really kind of in line with that channel either.
No. But the idea that you have these star explosions on these carbon filaments.
Yeah,
look. Yeah. Branching
yeah, and they're kind of
here. We'll do this one for the camera as well. Look, Matsumoto's branching carbonaceous filaments. There we go. What does he describe that as? Oh, maybe.
Nah.
But we will go here and we will come out. What does he
look!
do?
Oh, it's actually shooting way over. Oh, look! See, it gets thin, but it keeps going.
Oh,
way over.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you can't see it at this fidelity, but clearly. But yeah, I think it's likely to go up, peter out until it's just almost a fine beam.
Right.
So what does he describe? Figure 4b. Where does it go? Figure. Well done, Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto.
And that was the same. Look at that in the picture before. The center point looked very similar to this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? And this kind of looks like our.
Oh, yeah, that's the popcorn type structures.
Our kelp leader bulb there.
Maybe. Oh well, no. He has something very similar. If you go.
But you said his tracks. You said were mostly spirals, right? He didn't have the.
No, he's got the tubes here.
Ones?
Look.
But they're not as lumpy as.
No, but they do sometimes have a head on them.
Although these are not really lumpy. So I wonder if these are different processes. I mean, yeah, they almost definitely are.
It's all part of the same family, isn't it?
Right. But yeah, maybe this one, you have an Evo crashing and then splitting off, and you have this coherent matter wave, very rapidly tunneling through and eating through the metal, whereas, the kelpie ones, as we may be hypothesizing, are born in the air itself.
Carbon tube generated from microball lightning with the lumpy bits. Look,
Oh,
there we
look
go.
at that.
There we go. Oh man,
He got it all.
Matsumoto got it all. Look, there's the carbon tube.
What a stud.
Carbon tube generated from microball lightning, and then there is the lumpy hollow tubes.
Well done, Takaaki Matsumoto.
Damn.
He's the man. It's been there. Everyone could look to.
And you said these are all photographs off of a paused VHS.
Yes, which we're going to go and try and get higher quality images of. Yeah.
And this is all what, early 90s?
This would be probably 95. Yeah, so nearly 30 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Oh dear. Well done, Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto. What a legend. What a legend. Okay, we're going to try and get that at a higher res. So I'm going to go in to revisit that center point there. Revisit. Go back here. That is our center point here. So we will do a higher quality map here. I think this is a real finding, and again corroborating. We saw these carbon tubes yesterday, and we suspected this was what Matsumoto saw, and now freaking he nailed it. He totally nailed it.
Well, yeah, he's getting both. He's getting all.
And
all
this is the ball lightning impact site.
Yep.
And these are the structures coming out of it. God, it must.
Oh, I wonder if the ball, if this is actually material
that
from
could
when
be the ball lightning
came in, and then it's kind of sucking the tornado sucking stuff up, and then it smacks and explodes right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got a line over here.
Oh, really? Keep going. So maybe it ricocheted. Maybe it's skipped off.
Hold on. What do we got up here? I don't know, but it something happened. Oh, hold on. What's that there?
That looks like a super baby sphere.
Maybe. No one said these things had to be that big for this kind of width of the damage.
No.
It is.
Well, especially if it's losing energy and mass as it goes.
Maybe, yeah.
It probably would end up
dumping it out as carbon.
And maybe there's a couple of them?
Yeah. Well, no, the typical.
Oh, yeah, look at
Oh, my God. We got a whole freaking story. Boom! Oh, my God. Awesome. So let's characterize these little balls here.
I wonder.
But there's two there. Man, this is freaking awesome.
I bet those are
this
smooth
is
as anything.
totally awesome. Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be
It's a small ball.
That's a
right?
tiny
we're
one.
talking. We might not even see crenulations on here, but let's see if it's got the iron. Right?
It's gonna have the iron.
I'm gonna have to dial this back. I do want this actually at a sensible res. But are these iron balls? That's the question. We're gonna take a sensible shot.
I mean, otherwise you would expect what, silicone if they're that small?
They could be silicon, but no, I suspect they are iron balls.
Yeah, I think so too.
But man, this is next level. I mean, there's no doubt.
There is literally no doubt that coherent matter is in that thunderstorm generator. Whether it's doing anything else is open to debate. However, 100% certainly the same thing that is ball lightning, in my view, is going on in this device.
Yeah, you can start. Oh, there you go. You've got a cross section here.
Oh yeah,
that's the start of a crenulation.
I can see them a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so what are these structures? I think we know. Amazing. So it came in, it would appear, started maybe sucking up some stuff or pulling it into its influence.
Ricocheted off and then
bounced and
exploded.
Like this is, it's literally like a comet. It's literally like a comet impact.
It probably literally is a comet.
It's basically the same thing. Like, yeah, well, why not?
I mean, I'm not kidding.
No, neither am I. I'm deadly serious.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so have we got the resolution to hit this head on? Or are we
Don't
off?
zap it.
Oh, look, it's an iron-rich crenulated sphere, or not so much crenulated.
Imagine that.
Look, iron, FeO2, there we go. Well done, my friend.
Well done,
You've been here, and you helped make a discovery here, a finding, let's put it like that.
You know,
but Matsumoto was bang on, really.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's what he was able to do with the equipment that he had is so crazy.
Alone, with no other reference, and only his own work.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
But he dedicated 10 years of his life to it.
Yeah.
Right? And really, his play was stopped when fusion technology essentially changed the rules, so he couldn't publish the stuff that didn't report neutrons, gamma rays, or X-rays.
Yeah, because they were saying this is what the sun does, and if it's not doing this, then it's not fusion.
And therefore,
therefore, it's not interesting.
We've decided what the facts are about how suns work.
But this thing we don't understand.
if your science doesn't agree with our assumptions about what the sun actually does, then it isn't what the sun does, and therefore you cannot publish.
Well, he's smiling down on you, Bob. He's smiling down on you.
Yeah, Jesus. It's a deep pleasure, and you know what a maverick. What a maverick. You know, he must have. When I think about Matsumoto, I think like he's one of these people that's able to see.
Well, think about how lonely it must have been for him.
It was totally lonely. Like he had to reference himself. I have to do that all the time, but fortunately, I've got Matsumoto.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
It's like all these people saying the same thing, but there's like no.
Well, and these other slew of experiments that are kind of showing similar things where there's nothing to compare it to for him.
Yeah,
he was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I've never, he's just repeating it and finding the same processes over and over again.
Yeah, so this effectively is showing the whole death of a structure.
Are there any more up here? Let's.
Yeah, there could well be.
Let's kind of zoom out a bit and see if we get anything else up here.
There's almost a bit of a trail going on there, but this looks like the death area.
What about?
There could be some over here, like,
tucked in
the point of the explosion.
Well, hold on. I mean, it's the energy.
Yeah, that is the vector, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we follow the vector on.
Right.
And there's one.
Oh yeah, we know. That's an obvious one.
No, just because people will say, no, you didn't look. There are genuinely people that need not 100% proof. They need like 5,000% proof.
Yeah.
It's not sufficient to. They can see a car crash into a wall, and they think probably the dent in the wall was due to the car crash that just went into the wall that caused the crash in the wall. Right. And someone moves the car, and they say there was never a crash here.
Right.
But I just saw it. Here's the video. No. Prove me by running another car into the wall and see if it makes the same dent.
That could be Photoshop. That could be video editing. Reddit debunkers.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. They take some image.
Source.
They take some image like that looks vaguely similar because an explosion looks the same thing, like all the time, right? Yeah. So one explosion is going to look similar to the other. It doesn't mean they're the same explosion. Like this sphere is not the same sphere because it looks like another sphere. Okay, it's a different sphere.
Bob, this could have been dredged from the ocean floor via a magnet.
It could have been.
You can't prove that it wasn't.
In fact, what I reckon was when Malcolm was flying over with this crenellated sphere containing 24-inch sphere, they were shaking it out the window as they went over
dumping him into the ocean.
Over French Polynesia. it was on a long way around from Melbourne, and they opened the cargo bay door and
they're laughing, saying, and they're saying, I can't wait for people to think this was an interstellar comet. It's gonna be so funny. Oh, boy.
Right. Okay. So let's have a look at this baby. This is in the vector of the crash zone. Is it an iron-rich crenellated sphere? Oh, look, it's FeO2. And it has the same low percentage of chromium as these ones.
Yep.
Look. 2.32%, 2.32%, and this one has 2.36%. Yep. It's of the same coherent matter structure, in my view.
And so you think the more pure it is, that, I mean, do you think that this is like basically taking on a Bose-Einstein condensate when it's in an energized state, and then the EVO's blowing up, and then it all solidifies? Or do you think it's
the
chunks?
Coherent matter wave stops being coherent matter, and it becomes normal nuclear again.
Right. And so what you're getting,
you collapse the wave function.
So you're getting like basically a waveform without as many odd harmonics. Is that a way to think about it?
Look at this. It's a totally smooth object, and it's got these materials in here, right? So when this gets bigger, you've got like sub-wave structures, like lower harmonics.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And what I'm saying is the big balls on the outside are a big ball covered with loads of little balls that are wetting into each other when they're in the coherent matter state on their non-radiating boundary or within their apple. Something like that. Somewhere in the middle of that overall thing. But there we go. 2.85%, so 2.34% chromium on this one, which is in the same vector as the other ones. And here we go. We have 2.32% and 2.32%. The oxygen is 5832 and the iron is 3412. The oxygen is 57.9 and 34, and on this one it is 5830. You know what? They are so close. And I'm just sampling a random point here. If I averaged over an area, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
At some point you've got to accept that.
We get it.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Let's keep hunting.
Well, I want to get this whole zone.
Yeah.
Because this is like Matsumoto's
this is like
grainy black and white thing with saying what it is.
This is the nanoscale Roswell crash site right here.
This is literally nanoforensics.
It's so awesome.
And it's telling the story. We already looked at some things here. I imagine you're going to find little balls.
Well, they're probably everywhere.
Yeah,
because kind of like shotgun blasted out.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, what you're looking at is something like that created mulvanite or whatever it is. That shot glass. Yeah.
Is that any closer? Like in this area.
I don't know. Anyway. So maybe it came in here and
hop,
that's
skip,
the
and a
ejecta and like these are back or
maybe because as it's approaching, it's sucking up metals,
thicker. It's getting
and then
thicker.
It hits, it blows up, but enough of it is still carried forward, and then shotguns out into the microspheres.
It's amazing. You can literally study meteorite impact dynamics by looking at a section of the thunderstorm generator.
Well, except meteorite impacts, as far as I know, don't tunnel through the earth in these creepy, tremor tongue tubes.
Maybe they did. Maybe that's why you find veins of elements.
Ah. Damn, galaxy brain over here.
Maybe an Evo in a volcano blows up and it sends out veins of elements, which were coherent matter waves, and they collapse in the rock.
Oh, that's so cool.
You can imagine that is the way it is.
I mean, have people studied like the macro orientation of these veins?
This could literally change mining.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is next level. I'm very happy. Everything that happened yesterday was worth the price of admission, but like this
is crazy.
This is totally awesome. It's really, really great. So I want to get this whole thing in a map. In a more high fidelity thing, which means I'm going to have to dial back this. I'm going to have to put this to image, and we're going to dial back this to 10 kilovolts, and we're going to take a better quality imagery here. I do want to get this bang on, so I kind of do want to get this bit. Oh crap! Okay. So we'll take another map here.
It's just so crazy, like just anywhere you click on these samples, there's some wild story you find.
No, it's just rust. and it's contamination.
Yeah, right.
You've got to understand, rust and contamination.
They do this.
That's it. You don't need to look any further. These are not the droids you're looking for.
It's just like, I mean, I feel like I could just spend a week just exploring this one 2x2 inch sample.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
When I tell this to people, but can't you just look at the whole thing? And it's like, no. What you're looking at here, we're looking at an area here that's just a few fractions of a millimeter.
I know.
And it's telling a whole story of an organism.
Yeah.
And its demise.
Okay. Well, maybe it lived a good life. This is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
because now its legacy is preserved.
This was its gift to humanity.
Yep. You're gonna map that whole area?
I'm gonna map it, but not at 250 microns. I'm gonna punch it in much higher.
Shit.
I'm gonna turn off the
I'm
gonna turn off the focus now because I want to have a much higher resolution and then see if it's in focus. Because this will take a lot less time without having to refocus. So I'm gonna take 45 microns field of view. What am I looking at here?
Fuck.
This is 50, but the field of view is 147.7 microns. So if I'm looking, what am I going to look at? If I want to look at this kind of fidelity, yeah, I want to have 108. So yeah, if I look at 100 microns, do we need that resolution? I don't think we do. I think we can be at about...
How long would it take to map it at that resolution?
Well, what I want to do is maybe have a higher averaging. See, this is on a higher averaging. If you turn off the autofocus, this is what I'm saying. I just want to do a quick one, and we'll do it 100. It might go out of focus, but like I can dial up the averaging so we get higher quality here. Okay, so this is 90 panels. Okay, I'm gonna suck it and see that one, and this is called impact. Impact. Put it there, my friend.
Good stuff, Bob.
That's literally.
Yeah,
you know,
that's an all-in-one, right? That's the whole package right there.
That is the death of an Evo, and showing that within it has multiple iron-rich crenellated spheres.
Yep. Yeah.
But we know that from looking at Jurrien's VEGA experiments. We know from the VEGA Valley that when these things blow up, they throw carbon everywhere, either in a film, as was observed by Matsumoto, or as in little filaments, as observed by Matsumoto.
I wonder if those are, rather than the whole waveform breaking up, I mean, it kind of would be that, but maybe these are the sub-THORs disassociating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then each sub-THOR itself collapses.
Yes.
In like a fractal destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
So awesome.
It is.
I love this.
Is there anything cooler?
And we got accused of being nerds for yesterday's video.
Yeah. It's totally awesome. It's just completely awesome.
Yeah. Well, and it just gives you so many tools to explore these macroscopic structures, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's either there or it isn't.
Yeah. I mean, this is not rust, and it's not contamination. It's the story of a device of something that somehow was able to produce fluidized carbon and nitrogen channels that are able to go above and below stuff that's already on the surface. Right? Burrow into oxides of iron and then come back out, right? Probably hitting the what you might like to call the bedrock of the iron and bouncing back up, and then coming up to the crust and going along the crust and then burrowing back in.
I wonder if they have to keep burrowing to keep gaining energy, right? To keep bringing iron into the structure.
If this was a particle,
it's not a particle.
The crazy amount of energy it would take to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
we're talking giga and giga electron volts.
The system would explode. It would just.
It's just like, this is not your average particle. This is an exotic vacuum object, and it's an exotic vacuum object that breaks up to other exotic vacuum objects.
Sub-exotic vacuum objects.
I wonder what the width of that channel is.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say 20 microns.
20 or 5 or 1, but maybe.
Well, those spheres were each 2 to 3.
Well, these filaments are about 2.
I think we established that yesterday.
Did we?
Which means they are definitely at the n-2 level.
Yeah.
Right? So one up from that.
That channel's pretty big, though.
That channel could be...
I think that's our 20.
That could be... If that's 2, then that could be 20.
Yeah, and that would be...
That would be within
our
ballpark.
N.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out soon.
I'm putting 20 on 20.
You see?
There it is.
Your work is
spike.
forever embedded in
Phil. That's the Phil Dubois shard.
Yeah.
Spiral shard.
We should call this. I don't even want to think about it. No, we should call it the Uramura.
It looks like a
no, don't say it. It looks like the Uramura, that thing that came into and out of our solar system. You know, that long asteroid type thing that they thought was a spaceship?
Yeah. Right.
That's what it is. We're not going to go anywhere else, all right?
Sure. Well, I was going to say a fountain pen, but okay.
A fountain pen.
Whatever I don't know what you were thinking.
A fountain pen.
That's all, because it's got, look at the tip.
It's got the slit in the tip. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all you were going to say. This is good. I'm happy about it. Oh, this is lovely. This is getting on for ludicrous.
And that is definitely spiraling.
Well, it's definitely got periodicity, just as Matsumoto observed.
Yeah, there we go.
I think we got. Oh, yeah, that's our cut off there. We just managed to capture the end zone.
Well, maybe.
Well, it's not going any further.
It looks like it's like. Is this raised up a little bit? Like maybe it's
well, we can look at this, but like this is next level confirmation of what Matsumoto observed.
Everywhere. Yeah, look, it's always 2 orbiting around each other, right?
Yeah.
And this one, it doesn't look like it's just kind of flopping. This one looks like it's definitely a true spiral.
Look at that. This is 2. Oh, this is awesome. It's truly, it looks like it's split here.
Yeah.
It's split there. One's gone that way and one's come this way.
Yeah.
And has that started spiraling on its own? It looks like it might have done. You've literally got a quantization dropping to a new quantization.
And they always take off at those weird angles.
Is that
another 108?
I don't know. It's
108?
Whatever.
Kind of looks like it.
It's like a branching tree. Look.
Yeah, it tried but failed there.
There's a little branch here.
Where's this guy coming from?
I think it's coming from the other side of this branch.
Oh, did it maybe like loop down and around?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's this one having gone under?
I don't know. What have we got going on down here? This is just beautiful. Oh my God. I think this one might be one of my favorite DZIs ever.
Yeah, this is crazy. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. I like the fact that these come down here and then they rejoin further down here, you know.
Now, what's a little interesting to me is if we're thinking about this directionally correctly.
When it impacted here, it changed its vector.
But why? It seems like most of these tubes are going this way.
Well, yeah, maybe it crashed in this way.
Right. But then you also do, that's a tube, right?
Yeah. That's a tube. So, I haven't finished editing what I'm going to show you here. If Phil says something rude or whatever, deal with it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple of more edits, and I'm going to try and play it directly off the Macintosh over here, straight from Premiere. So, how is everyone? This final sequence here. It's a long one. I'm just making it a little bit shorter, but I think it's a very good one. So if you just bear with me. Just give me a second here. Give me a sec. Talk amongst yourself. Nearly there. I'll just put the hold frame on. No hold music today. Okay, nearly there. Let's see how I can play this. I don't want this to play in a window, so I'm just trying to fix that, if that's okay with you. You're going to want to see this. So it's the foibles of trying to do things real time. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's typical. Now my Mac's frozen up. Okay, not so bad now. I think I'm nearly there. No promises. It's not ideal. Okay, Premiere Pro has a window stuck up and it won't let it go. Oh no, you really want to see this? No one said Open Science was perfect. Don't I have a bleep button? Oh, I should do, shouldn't I? I've got to remember where he might have said something, or I might have said something. Oh, come on. It's got frozen with a menu item open. Oh dear. This is not seen this bug before. Thank you, Adobe. Okay, this is where it's annoying. I'm gonna have to actually shut this and I'm gonna lose some of my edits. So there's gonna be even more issues. Okay, all right, let's do that then. You don't want to miss this, so sorry. It's just typical. Oh, come on. I'm going to be there in a second. Honest, Governor. Nearly there. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. I can't edit this out of the stream because if I do, then all of your chats go. And I do not want to lose your excellent chats because I like to review those and see if there's any questions I can answer. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a small window if I can't get it sorted in a second. That's just a shame. But there we go. That's what we've got. Oh, okay. Okay, I can't do this. All right, I've got it now. I've got it. I've got it. Oh, dear. All right. Okay. All right, I think I've got it here. Good, good. Sorry for that delay. Hope you all had a nice cup of tea, and programming will resume imminently. Not quite. It's not quite doing it for me. Okay, you do not want to miss this. You do not want to miss this. Sorry. Oh, dear. Right. I'm going to switch the Mac audio on. Okay. Hopefully this is going to work. There we go. Are you ready? That's definitely a tube going up there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a sphere
right at the end.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yes.
We're going to have to check that bad boy out.
Yeah.
And if that's got cut, look, you've got the thing going right up there and it's wrapped around its equator. Oh my God. This is truly awesome and conclusive evidence. There's even a little, where is it? Up here. There's a little sphere off to the side as well. But this is showing the end of.
And it's got its little like light bulb bottom too, right? Where it's like it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't totally detach. Like it's still hooked up.
You see this on Hank Jurrien's VEGA experiments, but this totally shows that this is the core of the ball lightning. Utterly conclusive.
I was just gonna say, where's the
utterly conclusive.
Yes.
Now the interesting thing is, you've got a lot of heavier element over here. Is this the calcium and stuff that gets carried with this normally?
Yeah, that's just sort of like not within the structure, but being dragged along.
We're going to have a map of this area, and I think we're going to find calcium and silicon in this area.
Okay.
Because that's what you see around the Hank Jurrien broken ball lightning.
I mean, it looks
there's
very
the
light.
core. What?
It looks pretty light, so.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you get silicon charged.
Yeah.
It
looks, just from the microscope.
Yeah. So this is your pure steel from your cut, but this gets charged because it's a non-conductor. So calcium oxide is non-conductor, isn't it? And so silicon dioxide.
Yep.
So you know, sometimes you can use a color to indicate like this is a heavier element, and we know it's probably iron, chrome, and magnesium. And we actually should look at what that is, by the way, because that is our substrate. That's our substrate. It's a slice through of our substrate.
It could also be a fragment of the cutting wheel.
It could be that too, but I suspect it's steel because of the way it's twisted
I
and
would
so on.
agree.
And this you can say is carbon, but this because of its morphology
But this is just next level proof.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean that's because the other one's even like okay. There's
The
some
other-
evos.
well,
it's like they're within the
yeah,
vector, you know.
yeah,
but this is like literally attached still to that channel.
Yeah.
So that's what I was hoping we'd see.
It's done. It's done. We have literally brought the iron-rich crenellated sphere and connected it to a macro cluster to the filaments that was observed by Ken Shoulders in his work, was observed by Matsumoto, was observed in our... And the interesting thing is, in Suhaus Railcar's work, it was there for weeks before the structure blew up.
What, the active evo?
Yeah, it was stable in the fuel mixture for weeks. And then it destabilized for whatever reason. It ate too much, got too greedy, whatever. And then it blew up and it shredded the plastic.
I wonder if there's a way to like cut a sample of a recently used thunderstorm generator and see one that's active and try to blow it up.
I've wanted to take samples and put them in the SEM and take an image every couple of hours.
And try to blow it up. Like with the beam.
Oh, no, I
see
did.
if you can...
No, we did that with Lion's reactor.
Yeah.
There's no carbon in the sample. It's just copper oxide.
Yeah.
And we're firing the beam, the electron beam, and then suddenly it goes to 100% carbon.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then it disappears. So, and I described it at the time in 2017. The woman running the SEM, because I was just sitting by watching what she was doing, she says, I don't know what's going on here. This has never happened before. And I said, well, I think I know what's going on. There's like a black hole type thing that's got a load of carbon in it, and you're blowing it up with the electron beam. You're overexciting it, and it's spitting out the carbon, and then it goes off in all directions. You've got all these new atoms of carbon going everywhere. It sees the carbon initially, but then it doesn't see it at all. And this happened over and over again. It suddenly went up 100% carbon, and then it disappeared down. Yeah, this is total. See, now this is looking like this is going in this direction.
Here's a little guy.
This is the same kind of feature. Is that our...
Because I'll zoom out a bit. Because I was saying, like, this whole area seemed relatively...
That could be the deposit.
void. Like,
yeah.
Because, there's nothing really...
But this would be coming down here, so you would probably find your ball somewhere.
Is there any evidence of stuff going this way?
No.
Because we're seeing every other direction.
Yeah, I don't see it. The thing is, if it disrupted its stuff, the stuff comes out of its weak bum. It's traveling in this direction. Yeah. The material gets sucked in this way, but if it gets disrupted, the stuff goes out the same way it came in. And then it carries on like here. I think we're going to find this distance here is about 20 microns. I think we'll find this is about 20 microns.
Yep, I would
so
agree.
We'll characterize that, but we have to go and
what about,
we have to go and take image of
Are there any
ludicrous
spheres down here?
up here.
Because let's imagine it's the opposite way. Let's imagine it came from this way and went down here. That's so cool. But in that, in this site here, I mean, what if this is where it ended? I don't see any spheres here. Oh, here we go. What's going on down here?
Yeah.
Did we see this before?
There's a circle here, and anyway.
Well, that's a cool little...
It is. This is our Shamir tube.
Yeah, that's... Well, look at those lines in it.
Yeah.
Kind of striations running through it.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of born under there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. But I think what we need to go and first look at is our ball up here at the end of our channel here.
Yes, I agree.
Where was it? And
there,
just confirm the suspicion that this is calcium and silicon. But yeah, and this would be
the light bulb,
the carbon. Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh man, this is just totally.
And it's awesome. It's got that interesting loop on the top. It looks like a kettlebell.
Yeah, but that's what you get. You know, this is your shepherd's crook. So this is your wizard staff.
Have you seen that before?
This is all over the Henkure and Vega, where at at the end of all of the carbon deposits, right? You have around the equator of an iron-rich crenellated sphere, you have this thing. So this is what you expect, right? So totally, this has got these structures in. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now the debate is,
do they do anything?
No, they're doing stuff.
Well, they're doing something.
Is it doing something useful?
Is it providing useful work? Right?
Yes. We know it can transmute matter.
right?
Well, it certainly, I mean, at least it brings some of these exotic claims into the realm of possibility, which is...
No, it's fact. Sorry, it's fact.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the claim is that it does useful work, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you say, that's absurd. How could it possibly do that?
Because we're seeing the iron-rich
by this
crenellated
thing,
spheres in Bendall Huang system, he has only the 0.04% of carbon dioxide that can be dissolved with the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in his deionized water. It goes in, and these iron-rich crenellated spheres are synthesized, and carbon synthesized with all the other elements like calcium and stuff in the system because it's deionized. Right.
So I think,
and it produces excess heat.
Yeah.
And only when it produces excess heat do you see the gases.
Right.
Right. So 100% this works.
And so I guess what we could say definitively is that the thunderstorm generator, which
it has all the hallmarks of something that's got the potential to do its claims.
It's claimed to be able to transmute elements.
Yes.
And it has structures which are proven to be able to transmute elements.
Yes.
That can be said definitively.
Definitively.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done, Malcolm.
Well done, Malcolm. And well done, Takaaki Matsumoto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well done, Ken Shoulders, and well done, Suhas Raukar.
Yeah.
And well done, Dr. Ruishin Amaza. This is evidence piled on evidence piled on evidence.
Yep.
This is like someone saying, I don't see the building, and there's 110 stories above their head, right? Because they're in the building.
Right.
They can't see the building,
right.
You know?
But we're looking at the whole elephant right here.
Yeah, and you show them another 110-story building, they don't see it even then.
But usually we're looking at one or another fragment of this toy, right? But this sample, it's got the whole elephant.
And you know what? If people bother to look at samples you send to them, they're going to be able to confirm this 100%. Just as I said with Bendall Huang. Bendall Huang's system is beautiful because it's not so confused. Right?
Right.
The DHX2 particularly, the VCSR5T, you see the same thing, VCS5RT, you see the same thing, but you have to work a lot harder to see it because there's so much going on. And that's kind of like what's going on here. But this is it, it's done. You know, we could go and we put more and more, pile on more and more evidence, but it's done.
I mean, I want to do it just because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun because it is supporting evidence, but we're literally looking at an incredibly small area.
I know.
Like fractions of a millimeter here. What is this? The shape area is 900 micrometers by 1,000 micrometers. It's less than 1 millimeter squared, right? 1 millimeter squared, and you've literally got the whole answer to what this is doing.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a look at this in stupid res.
Yes.
If we can get a better
Don't
shot
zap
of this.
it. Careful. Approach it slowly.
I don't know whether we can get any better because this is 3 micron. This is just a 2 micron structure. All we need to know is this iron?
Yeah. Well,
right. We'll take a.
We know.
We'll take a custom on that.
We know. But yeah, this one you got to prove. You got to get it on screen for sure. Even though
is it going to take a long time? No. See how annoying that is?
I know.
Tell me if that's not annoying for you.
And I think we should take a point sample on that little hook coming.
And it'll maybe have magnesium, and it may have like these kind of elements. This will have a range of elements.
I mean, I think would be telling if we're seeing the iron sphere and then you're seeing a tube of carbon and nitrogen attached to it.
Well, we can do a map on this little area.
Yeah.
But we've already done that with this exact same structure. We've seen this exact same thing on.
But that would really, I think, tell the story of, as these things are moving along.
The material's orbiting around it.
Right, but it's potentially synthesizing this nitrogen as it goes, as it tunnels along, leaving it in these tubes,
it might just be dumping its payload.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's going through the air.
Lutz Jaitner speculated that there was 100,000 times the amount of mass you can store in this structure for the volume. So you take one spoon. Don't say there is no spoon. There's 100,000 spoons occupying the same space-time as one spoon. It's not there is no spoon. There's 100,000 spoons.
But when it collapses, those all have to
come out,
disassociate,
and they have to become normal atoms again. So they have to regain their electrons.
Right.
And
so you imagining that this is where all that calcium and stuff it got dumped, or is that just the iron?
That is
I believe that it has to fit it into a small box, and in organizing the quark soup into a small box, when that starts to break down, you get a spread spectrum of elements based on the overall life of the structure.
Yeah.
Right? So
It's
like
resonant-
if you
resonant
bake the structure
frequencies.
for a little bit of time, you're only going to get certain elements, and it depends on the inputs. Right? So we're going to confirm whether this is iron or what. So we have to switch this to, I'm going to switch this to point first. So we'll do a bunch of points around here. And we'll put this on 15. Don't jump. Don't jump on me.
Come on, baby.
Stay where you are.
Not this one.
And it looks like we have another one here bedded up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like it fused into the metal.
Yeah, well, no, this shows that it isn't something that dropped on. This isn't like Malcolm finding a
No, it's still-
two micron sphere and carefully placing it here on this 1 millimeter squared for us to find.
It's fused into it.
Right? Like the levels of mental gymnastics people have to go to say that this is a fraud is absurd. I mean, you literally have to deny reality.
Well, you just have to not-
get your brain, take out your brain and say, yes, this is not real because my textbook told me it's not possible.
Because my gut tells me something's fishy here.
Yeah. Look, you see you've got a carbon trail coming up
That's
here.
what I say. It's like, look,
Yeah.
don't worry about all the circus, all
Yeah.
the circuit. Just look at the system. Look at the evidence of what's happening
Right.
here.
So I think we're going to have big, this is embedded in material, so you might see a little
If
bit
you're
more
like,
carbon.
this. It's like,
look.
I-
Is this FeO2? And it's got the same percentage of chromium creeping in. So the coherent matter in this structure had basically, where is it? The chromium is going up and down. There's no holmium. There definitely is chromium, and it's not praseodymium either. So we'll include that. Stop guessing. You know what it is now. Right, so again, it's the same proportion. So we know this is born out of the same coherent matter structure because it has the same ratios at the end of these structures and the ones that are crashed in the crash point. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Totally conclusive data. I imagine.
exactly. I was just going to say, take a point of Mr. Lumpy up there, that little pimple. There it is.
There it is.
And
It's just got a little bit more detritus around it because it's not cleaned itself off.
right, exactly.
It hasn't spun itself clean of everything that's on it.
Exactly. Wow.
Now you've got the other materials I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now, if we map this area, you're going to see all of the normal stellar synthesis elements. I'm telling you.
I believe you.
So where do we want to map? Just this area around here?
I think, maybe get a little bit of the tube coming in.
Okay. I need to switch to map mode, but look.
Just, maybe.
Aluminium, silicon. There we go. And I reckon up there where that's white, you're going to start to see calcium creeping in. We'll take a closer zone around here because we want to see this lick. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, can you do a quick point on the handle there, the kettlebell handle?
Well, it's going to be more carbon, isn't it? Probably, carbon and silicon. Is it still sampling?
Yep.
Carbon and oxygen. There we go.
And a little.
The iron is because it's right next to there, and it's going to be getting some of it because we're
nitrogen.
stupid close.
Yep.
You often see nickel stuck on the outside, which is interesting.
Why would that be?
I think it's because it's like or alpha particle, whatever, from iron. So anyway, there you go. It's mostly carbon and oxygen.
Yep. Very cool.
And by atomic weight, it is 80% carbon and oxygen.
Crazy. Crazy.
Right next to something that's almost entirely iron and oxygen. Look. It's iron. That is 60, 70, 80, 90, 95% iron and oxygen by atoms. And the thing that's going around is almost entirely carbon and oxygen.
Right. And it's attached.
And it's orbiting around it exactly as we have seen in the ball lightning breakup products on the Huang VEGA Valley experiment, which looked exactly the same, by the way, as some of the carbon films.
And did you see some of those same examples of them tunneling through and then the spheral at the end of this node?
No, this is interesting because it shows that these things both consume the material, crashed in, maybe there's an ejecta field, but these things came out of it as substructures, and then they were leaving a deposited trail of material.
Yep.
Which you could imagine was carried by the overall bulk structure.
Yep.
And it's just kind of like, it's
there.
laying it down.
Yep.
It's laying it down. So we'll have a look. We'll map this area. I need to switch to mapping. But no, I could take a couple of sample points of these various things.
Just got to get maybe a little bit of that calcium if you think it is.
Yeah, well, the calcium is normally further out from the actual structure. But this is more iron here, but we've got sulfur creeping in there, or we did. Not conclusive in that point. No, it's determining the sulfur. The praseodymium isn't praseodymium, it's chromium. And yeah, look, here we go. Here's all your peaks. So these are the, like if I put these on.
Every two?
Yeah.
Your step one.
No, it's these peaks here. You'll see, look. Sulfur.
Yeah.
These are all your stellar synthesis elements. They're there. The peaks are there. They're not great.
Will that next one be potassium?
Yeah, might be. No, yeah. Or chlorine. Yeah, potassium peaks there. So what we'll do is we'll study this area, for instance, because this will have a lower iron concentration, but have a higher concentration of the other materials. Okay? So I'm going to do we'll do a spot here where, I don't know, it's these blended materials you get.
Same deal.
Look, aluminium, silicon, it's coming in there.
Basically the same profile though. Just less iron.
Yeah, but it's definitely picking up the aluminium, without being nurtured.
Right.
But the peaks are coming in. So we'll do a map over this area because at a fairly close resolution, but I need to stop that. There you go. The sulfur is being detected. The aluminium is actually being detected. And these are the stellar products. So you can say that in many, many systems, by many, many authors, in many timescales, in many places in the world, they are observing the same thing using charge separation and a hydrodynamic shear.
Yep.
But the sun has a unique process.
Right.
The rest of the universe produces these exact elements from stellar synthesis. They have a unique process, which we decided in the 1920s because we had all the tools to know. Right? And you should listen to us. We have a textbook and it's been there for 100 years. And you cannot question the textbook despite the plethora of repeatable scientific evidence you can share and create at will. No, ignore all of this information, which is absolutely, totally conclusive. Look at the textbook. It's got letters. And the letters are by very eminent people 100 years ago.
They had very impressive degrees.
Very. And they went to impressive institutions. They were in the right clubs, and they were funded by the right people. Right? So they must be correct.
Well, who are we?
Who are we looking at this incredibly conclusive evidence? Oh dear. Right, let's map. Oh, I haven't put that on map mode, but it should still pick it up at this level.
I mean, that's really my favorite part of this. Well, not my favorite part, but people are like, you're saying all these people are wrong?
Yes.
You're a drummer. You're a carpenter. You think they're wrong? Yes.
I'm a graphics designer.
Yes, they're wrong. They're totally wrong. That's correct.
And now we have two systems, Malcolm Bendall samples and Benjamin Huang's, that conclusively.
Well, and I love how
this
the
works.
timing of these two systems emerging right now together.
But that is what happens in history.
It's insane.
Like Marconi and Tesla.
It's the two vortexes, right? Spiraling around each other.
Well, it's just there's enough information that someone that's paying attention will realize that something is worth doing.
Right.
And they'll produce enough evidence themselves to convince themselves to go public with it.
Right.
And
or someone has been producing evidence, but they don't want to get shamed
and that's the other
for
thing.
rocking the boat. But then they see someone else come forward, and then suddenly they have a confidence boost. They release their whole body of work.
It's the whole thing where you have an auditorium of people and you ask a question and no one wants to answer it. Right.
But yeah, just takes
But then when or you say, are there any questions?
Right.
You invite them to ask questions and no one puts their hands up. And someone puts their hands up and then goes, oh, well, I want to ask a question. So it cascades. The whole phrase is courage is contagious.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of sulfur in here, but it's not so conclusive because it's like literally everywhere, which you can't really conclude anything. But here, the nickel is in air zones. It's just, you know what? I haven't got beam intensity is not set to maximum. Okay.
Is that nitrogen?
No, I can't do it. I need to switch to. This is not good. I haven't got it in mapping mode, so I'm going to stop that.
Okay.
We have to go into mapping mode to do this properly, and we want to do this properly because this is our total fact. I'm just going to call it total fact.
Total fact.
It's not open to debate. Sorry, I should be conservative.
Take a picture of the Malcolm book and call it a game set match. Total fact. That's funny.
At some point, you've got to give in, and I think this time is now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was satisfied with the VEGA Valley. The VEGA Valley is beautiful because it doesn't have all of this detritus around it. And that one where you've got the ball lightning breakup.
It's time to gloat.
It's time to accept it and let's get useful technologies developed with it. Thank you, Malcolm, for having the courage to let me have this chopped up. And for creating it, obviously, in the first place. Right, okay. So we'll put that onto map. You know, look here. There's a sphere there, and there's a sphere there, and there's a sphere there.
Don't move on without me here.
No. Look, what I'm saying is there's
is it
really small spheres here and here.
Ooh.
So
could that be?
You see this in Henk's experiment. You see a massive one and then a little one.
I mean, so could that be your n-2 sphere there?
No, what actually you have is the actual iron, in my view, is a coherent sphere. Yeah. And it literally dumps a clone of itself and then it moves a little bit forward and it does it again. Because you've seen on the you see on the outside of the line reactor.
Well, this is how I view like solar system formation.
Yes.
Right, you have your sun, and then your remainder energy creates your planets, and then the remainder energy...
it's almost nothing.
Then it creates the moons.
Yeah, but like 99.8% of our entire solar system mass is the sun.
Right.
And the Earth is one of the smaller bodies.
Yeah, so it's just these little... and this is why I think it ties into vortex math and your modulus, right? It's your remainder function, which is of extreme importance. Your remainder function becomes your new system. And
did you see my presentation after the Sapphire Group in 2019 in Holland? I literally said, using this technology, you can create solar systems with it.
Yeah.
Right? And I meant that totally. I'd seen enough by 2019.
I'm going to make you look at my my nine-dimensional fractal toroid diagram again. Because I think my prediction is that this entire structure can manifest from orthogonal electromagnetic angles.
I think you just need 3 dimensions.
Well, yes. You can just, in a Cartesian...
We can make things confusing.
But so Lazar and I keep going through this as well. I don't... in a Cartesian frame, this can all be described. I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. But I don't use... When I say a 4th or 5th dimension, I don't mean a whole arena of the universe that is inaccessible to us. I just mean a vector of motion, right? And yeah, they can be described in 3, absolutely. But is that how the universe sees it? Is that how matter sees it? And my point is, if you start from a 1-dimensional plane and you build out orthogonally from that, and I won't go through the whole thing right now, but my conclusion is, if you do that, if every dimension cascades from the previous dimension at 90-degree angles, what I claim you end up with is a 9-dimensional fractal toroid. All right, what are we looking at here?
This is your carbon going around your iron sphere.
Oh,
carbon going around the iron, orbiting around the iron.
Look at that.
It's not on top; it's on the equator.
That's awesome. And the nitrogen is...
That's nickel.
No, I know, but the nitrogen...
Here's the sulfur, which is definitely there and it's detectable.
You had the nitrogen before, though, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't look like it was...
And the silicon's on the back end. Where's the silicon gone again?
So, it's not totally co-located over the carbon this time.
Look, in the tail, you've got silicon. That's where it's joining to the carbon filament.
Where it's pooping.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the carbon is kind of centered over to the left there. So is that because the electron beam is over to the left?
Yes, that's where it's seeing it. Okay. But it will be orbiting all the way around.
Okay.
No, it's literally like a little friggin' light bulb. Yeah. That's the oxygen, because the oxygen's on the silicon as well as it is on the iron. That's beautiful, that is. That's really beautiful, because there's the iron, and the silicon's on the back end. Here, literally, it's on the stem of the light bulb. So I wonder,
in these kelp tubes, do you get maybe slightly higher concentrations of silicone at the nodes where it gets thinner? Is it leaving a little bit behind as it kind of eats and poops?
What it might be doing is, like ball lightning is shown to go brighter and darker and brighter and darker.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has oscillations. And it might be similar things going on in this, because this is micro ball lightning. And so it might be in one phase, it dumps matter. And the rest of the coherent matter, its de Broglie wavelength, its literal wavelength is not in ordinary matter's state, so that it can dump as a not ordinary matter structure and literally walk straight through that ordinary matter structure and dump another one. You get it? So, like, because the reason it can walk, literally in this, you can see it's going into the iron and oxide and whatever. It's going under it and then coming back out.
Yeah.
So you already know this stuff can go in and out of ordinary matter.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if it instances ordinary matter, then it's ordinary matter which it can go through. So it can instance another. So this is why I was totally blown away in the Lion reactor, where I saw something had come from the inside of the reactor, and 50% through the fused quartz, it left a sphere. And the sphere is half out of the fused quartz and half in. And then it left another 2 iron spheres. I assume they're iron because they're the right color. I couldn't get an SEM on that. It left 2 other spheres immediately attached and magnetically bound to them. So when it was completely outside, it instanced itself again, and then it instanced itself again. 3 spheres in a row.
Yeah. Right.
But it was started to destabilize when it went through the impedance change between the quartz and the air. At the point the core of the overall fractal structure went through the thing, it got destabilized then, and then the non-radiating boundary instanced some matter.
That's what I'm wondering is causing maybe these like quick angles here and there, or if they're facing some impedance change from like elemental variance in the structure.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just got to wing off.
Or it might get too excited and it splits up into fragments of itself.
Yeah.
Which immediately went
into a sphere. We're seeing it
look,
break into
look at that. Look at that. The striking neck.
Yeah.
There is no doubt.
It's got to be a coincidence, Bob.
What, that the light bulb is this shape?
The light bulb is point. Yeah, well.
Like, look at that.
That's pointed right down at the tube that looks like it's attached to.
Yeah, it's total coincidence. Yeah. There can't be any facts in this because there's a textbook 100 years ago that said the sun works in the same way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was by a well-funded guy.
Look at us pretending to do scientific work.
Like, yeah. There's no evidence there that this is coming from this direction and that there's carbon orbiting around its equator, like an accretion disk on a black hole.
Yep.
No evidence whatsoever, right? None at all. And it's complete coincidence that the silicon
or Saturn's rings, right?
The silicon, which is half of iron, like two silicon 28, iron 54. Like, it's completely coincidence that this is here. There's no hard facts that you can draw any conclusion.
Pack it up. This scam is over. This has gone far enough.
This has gone far enough. This is too much. Like, you've got to give Malcolm credit for engineering this.
Well, just think about how much shit he's taken over the years.
No wonder he gets no sleep when he's having to micro machine these things into 1 millimeter square.
God bless him, Jake, truly, for just like powering through.
You imagine how
so much negativity.
Yeah. I mean, to credit, yeah.
You know, this is what I always said.
This
is what I always said to people that said, like, look, this whole thing's a scam. It's all a pyramid scheme. Like, what are you involving yourself in? And I was like, I was like, look, I'm here
It's because they can't dare to imagine.
Well, right. And I said, look, first of all, I'm not sold on anything. I'm here to explore. And I will say this: Malcolm Bendall believes in this system. You know, whether or not he knows, you know, everything about it and the processes that are occurring, that's another question, right? Whether he's describing accurately how this all happens, whatever. But he has faith in this.
Yeah.
He's putting it into people's hands. He's really not trying to hide it.
For me, it's simpler than that. He showed those things coming outside of the reactor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and to your credit, I think basically no one in the world would recognize what the hell that was based on that one video.
Yeah, but this comes from independent researchers having attempted to geek.
But literally, you saw a flash of light shoot across the screen, and you're like, oh, that's a coherent matter wave.
Yeah.
Everyone else would have assumed that that's like, reflection off a camera lens or a piece of dust or something. Like, oh, I think that's coherent matter.
Yeah, and it is that. Get over it. And it comes from ball lightning.
Yeah.
Get over that.
Yeah.
But the work was already done. It's already been done by other people. You just had to recognize where they're talking about the same thing and when they're talking about different things.
Well, that's where you need a broad enough base of knowledge to put it all together and synthesize.
This is beautiful, hard evidence. Just look at that.
Yeah.
Carbon orbiting around the iron structure.
That is wild. Yeah.
And like just verifying what was observed in the VEGA Valley by Jurrien.
Oh, it looks like the nitrogen.
Silicon.
Oh, the nitrogen came in a little more.
The nitrogen's definitely on it.
Yep.
And that will be probably on the carbon that's on there. But like it's kind of a... It's definitely
it looks like it's like stuck to the iron a little more.
A little more, but then the carbon won't... It obviously doesn't have as much nitrogen in it. The chrome's kind of everywhere. It is kind of in there, but like... Yeah. But for me, the story is actually shown... Because the silicon and the oxo... The iron is here. Okay, so that is the ball, right? And we know that's iron and oxygen. So iron and oxygen's there. But the oxygen comes down here in the neck of the light bulb here. And that's where the silicon is. So that's silicon and oxygen and iron and oxygen. And these are the two things that are closely correlated in and alongside carbon with ball lightning. And outside of that, we may see some calcium. So let's see if we do. I think this is absolutely total fact.
I think that should be in all capitals, by the way.
Well, no, this is total fact with the point samples.
Okay.
This is what do we call it? Photo of total fact.
Fact map.
Yeah, well, fact map. I like your word. Map. Dash. Deal with it. Yes, that's what I'm going to call it.
Oh my god! So we're just going to get so annoying.
What?
As we continue to like build evidence.
Yeah,
for
but do you
this,
imagine what it's like to have an experiment that my 5-year-old child could do, and it works, and you're telling scientists years ago that this is the case, and they won't even bother. They won't even bother to look at an experiment.
They're going to have to.
It's too cheap. It hasn't got enough shiny stuff. It doesn't raise enough funds to employ enough people in the facility.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, are you
you don't need to spend how many trillions at CERN.
You can't, after 5 years, say, we need to do further investigation. Please give us more money, right?
We need another $1 trillion to dump into particle accelerator as part of a scientific welfare program.
Oh, dear. I love you guys out there, but really, so many... I don't like life being wasted, and life is being wasted on fruitless endeavors when nature can do this incredibly easily. Oh, dear. I know why you did it. It was a good pension, but, like, come on. Come on. You've got a freaking drummer and an artist in a room here.
Bob, be careful. They have tenure on the line. Okay?
What?
They have tenure on the line here.
Tenacious. It beats tenure. All right. Okay. We're going to look in the surrounding area here.
Yeah. Let's.
I mean, look. There's another ball there.
They're everywhere.
There, in the vector.
Yeah.
Like so, you've got the point
Where's
here,
our
and
light
up
bulb?
there
Where's
you've
our
got a
light
ball.
bulb?
There's our light bulb,
Okay.
and in the same vector, you've got another ball there, like straight up.
What's that little triple structure in the crack there? Is that just debris?
This here,
This guy. Is that a?
that's possibly little bits of iron, but that's definitely a ball there.
I don't think we need to.
I think I'm just going to take this random area here of what I would argue is potentially synthesized material, and we'll do a little.
You're thinking what? Silicon and calcium?
In this one, I would suggest sulfur, maybe even, but lots of carbon and sulfur. Yeah. Right, so let's do another one here, and we will do a little map here.
Deal with it. That's so funny. What do we got?
Well, it's a lot of iron.
Yeah, makes sense.
And there's the sulfur, and there's the calcium.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
rest my case.
There you go. What'd we bet?
What?
Well, I bet 20 on the iron sphere. You bet 20. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
you do realize you have to do a bet before the event.
Yeah, well,
I said at this distance we will see calcium.
Yeah, so our bets cancel out.
Oh dear.
And we're each left with nothing,
This
as usual.
This really is an honor. Totally an honor.
Yeah, it really is.
Of course, it's a pretty educated guess because all of this stuff is calcium sulfate. But now you are literally seeing the thing that's doing the job.
Right.
I wouldn't be look at the way that this is similar to this wave. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't find another exploded structure.
They're going to be
here.
everywhere.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth just taking a quick rapid fire peek around.
I think it's worth doing another map and going to lunch.
That's worth doing.
Because then we can come back and the story will be there for us and we can find it quickly like we just did.
Good point.
But this for me is
that's so
next level certainty.
Yeah, that's wild. And so you got a map of that, the metastructure, the crash site, the tubes, and our spheres all in the same image?
We've got that. Yeah, we've got this map here which we can zoom around.
That's got the whole.
That's got the whole shebang.
Yeah, that's it.
What we must do is measure this.
Yeah, before we go to lunch.
We've got to lay that down.
I think that was my bet. 20 microns.
Come on, your bet or my bet?
I said 20 on 20 earlier. They remember. It's on camera.
As I said, we established that this is 2 microns across. So if you look at that scale there and that, you could probably fit 10 of those in there.
Well, yeah.
I think we're agreed. It's probably 20 microns.
It's 20. 20 is the sweet spot.
Yeah. Well done, Ken Shoulders. Has it finished that? No. Yes. No. It has, yes. Okay. So what have we got? We seem to have a blob of something there. So this is iron everywhere. The carbon's everywhere, of course. The oxygen's everywhere, of course.
Not really a lot of sulfur, though.
Chunks of nickel, which are something. There's your sulfur.
Yeah, it's not too much, though.
What do you mean? There's a whole lot there. If you.
With the whole sample.
Oh, and look. It's co-located with the calcium.
Nice. Yeah, there we go. It sure is.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. That is co-located. That's a blob of the stuff. And that's like a, vectoring out from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens. I'm pretty sure that's done. Right.
Damn, it's already 12:30.
Yeah, so we set up a map, but let's measure that.
Yeah, let's measure.
Yeah, but
we gotta.
What we have today is incredible data.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
like
a lucky click. Maybe not. Maybe every single click is going to be this. Who knows?
But it's building on what we saw yesterday. Yesterday we saw these by accident.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And we know that they've been observed by other people. Matsumoto.
Oh, the other thing we should come back to is that real streaky coherent matter wave. This wispy one down here.
Yeah, we need
this
to look
is
at that.
Something very interesting is happening.
Okay,
right
well,
there.
we'll just.
I don't think we have to do that right now because the fact that you have that kind of like longitudinal striation in that, to me, implies it's going very, very fast.
Yeah. Let's have a look at it. We're here.
I mean, look at that. And I don't know where the hell that's coming from.
Right.
Because it's not vectored to that primary crash site there. Yeah, what the frick is that? Oh, it's moving.
It's moving. It's moving a lot. We're going to have to be quick.
It knows we're looking at it. What the hell is it?
It could be a fiber of some organic material. I think we're just destroying it right now. No, it's averaging, and it's averaging. I need to take a quick image here. So we need to do a medium and like that, something like that. And we'll go in. It's our beam energy is very high. That's causing us a problem.
What do you think?
Right
It's
now.
carbon? Probably carbon.
I don't know, but it's quite well held together. That's what it is.
It just
looks like it's coming down to this point over here.
It just took a big shot and stuck together. Oh, did you?
No, I've had to lower the beam energy, so I'm just going to have to, and I'm also going to turn this down as well.
Were you at 15 electron volts before?
The question is, where is it going to down here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of its own thing. I mean, maybe there's something happening to the right. This kind of looks like a whole little something going on over there. Maybe. Mm-hmm. But this looks different than all the other ones. It doesn't appear to be spiraling really. Or if it is, it's moving so fast that it doesn't. We're not seeing signs of it over this distance.
There seems to be something over here, which I'm not seeing like that. Yeah, it's very small, the structure.
Yeah, what is it, like 1 micron across or something?
Yeah.
There we go.
Seems like it might be going down to this point here.
But what's going on over to the right? Yeah, what's going on here? Is it coming out of this black thing? What the fuck is that?
This has wrapped that around itself.
So that's a little, yeah?
That has literally wrapped that around itself.
What is this, carbon?
That was clearly some sort of carbon, mostly, but we can find that out.
That's like a big old fat carbon tube, if that's what that is.
Well,
which
it's still only 3 micron or something. But,
and so maybe,
but the fact that it's wrapped this around itself, that's the interesting thing. It's torn it from here. Look,
yeah.
And it's wrapped
peeled
it around
up.
itself.
And then it cast this little side guy off.
Well, maybe. It looks like it's pulled it underneath.
What is going on? What's at the bottom of this carbon slug? What the hell?
It's just a little slug. I think we're going to find that's carbon, and you're going to be able to see through to the substrate underneath. So if we go here and we just go boink, and we go boink, and we're at 10 kilovolts, so we're going to see carbon.
Yeah, it's probably going to be almost all carbon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fluorine?
Is that a real signal?
Not yet. It's basically carbon.
Yeah.
Carbon, oxygen. It's 60, 80, nearly 90, 80 something %.
But it doesn't look
Oh, and nitrogen here as well.
Oh.
That's CNO. That's good. This is a good sign. We like these things. I don't know whether it has molybdenum. Maybe it has molybdenum. No, it's sulfur. The sulfur's there.
Got a little iron coming in.
Yeah, because it's seeing it underneath.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem.
So, but that's that's a strange little tube, huh? A little short, fatty, with a laser shooting out of its head. What the hell is that? Have you ever seen one like that?
I've seen something like this before, yes.
But attached to a carbon slug?
It came close to a ball. It was the one that looked like the Shamir in the sketch, the ancient Solomon's
Or
Shamir.
is it... Could this laser have been like shooting over and then hit the metal here and then been compressed and then kind of wound down into this carbon?
Who can say? Right, I'm going to measure that channel up there.
Yeah. That's cool though. I like.
Yeah.
Oh, but do a quick point sample on the beam.
Well, you're just going to see through it, but anyway, we'll,
okay.
Because it moves. If I fire a load of electrons there, it's going to move.
Okay.
But we'll do it anyway because we're here. Why not?
Yeah, it's more carbon.
Silicon. It could be a silicon fiber.
Weird.
But it's silicon with ridges on it.
Yeah, that's what's.
But you saw the on the DHX-2 sample where the structure crashed into the ground and it left like a finger scrape marks.
Right.
Because it has these, and also when it was scraped up the copper, it had these wave sections.
But that was a lot bigger than this thing, wasn't it?
It doesn't matter, it's fractal.
Yeah.
So like it has these wave patterns around its perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Look, so you got silicon and aluminium there, in there, but it's going. Most of this is it's seeing through.
Yeah.
Okay, so
all right, let's measure the channel.
Yeah, measure the channel.
Even though we know.
Now we've got two areas to measure it here, and then
no, the upper one that's clean. Yeah, do the upper one.
Well, that's pretty clean there.
Yeah. It's a little jagged.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna get our. We know we're gonna get our clean 20 up here.
You think so?
I know so.
Well, it could be 10.
I'm making a bold prediction.
It could be 10. We got an 8 micron here.
Ooh, yeah. Oh man, I might owe you 20.
Yeah.
Depends where you measure it from.
I'm gonna put it to SED. You're gonna see the channel depth.
It's less than 20.
It is. Sorry, mate.
Fuck. See, never let a drummer on the SEM. Excuse me.
I'm gonna now have to find that one. The whole recording.
Bleep it. Just add a little bleep over it.
Hello. Very good. Yes. Totally awesome. Right. Across here then. We will do a little map of this area here. We saved that one. Close. We'll do a new scan here. In case you were interested. You kept looking at your phone.
I know. Yeah, I'm interested in this.
Oh my God, look at this. It's like...
It's rust.
Yeah, it's rust.
Rust does
That's
this.
what happened here. Rust what happened. So that's the overall 3D. And then for curvature, you kind of like adjust there. So.
Yeah, just like an ice cream scooper going through the metal. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Did you speak too soon? Yes.
Come on, I said it.
Yes.
I said it was 20 before.
Yes. Yes. All right. I mean, that was about
Ken shoulders. Well
yeah,
done.
exactly.
Well done.
There it is. No, you're going too wide. Yeah, there you go.
I'm just trying to see the consistency. Yeah. Oh, it's incredibly consistent, isn't it? Look at that. This is a bona fide science with a drummer and artist.
Couple of hacks. You throw them in a room.
Oh, speak for yourself. You literally were hacking this sample apart.
Yeah, sure. That's what I meant.
Yeah, man, that is totally cool. Look at that. Look at that. I think we have to take a 3D model of the impact zone as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to call this trench.
Yes.
Trench
warfare.
Of
Trench of death.
Of hard facts.
Thought you were gonna take it to a serious place at that point.
No.
Yeah, and it's like the depth seems consistent with other channels like this. You know,
yeah.
Maybe 2 to 5 microns deep. Yeah, we definitely want to map the that impact site.
Impact site,
for sure,
and the pre-impact site,
yeah.
If we're assuming that's the way it went. But I think with the,
it seems
it's one or the other, and we can debate about it later.
The only thing is, if it's because the tubes would suggest it came from the other way, but then
I disagree, because some of them kind of come back on themselves anyway. You've got that same problem.
Well, they're going to do all sorts of weird shit,
yeah.
right?
No, but what you see is you see what you see on the Binduen Huang, where you see it coming in, and the channel is getting wider and wider and wider, and you can literally see the structure has crashed into the copper.
Yeah.
Right? On this,
right.
You see a channel gets wider and wider
right.
and wider, and it stops at 20 micron wide.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
Did I save that? I did save that. Okay, so we go close, and then we will go and look at the other one here. So we'll go down.
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
This zone here,
because they're starting.
Yeah, that's the.
Although it does get up to maybe 40 microns across right there.
But I think what's happening at this point, it maybe even it rolled or it ripped up material.
It kind of hit once and then hit
twice. It might have started here and then it actually bounced here, because it's a similar kind of impact area here. Look, there's a radius there. Actually, if I turn this onto mapping I think that shows a. That you've got a radius there.
Yep.
And I think you'll find that is increst carbon rich.
But then you don't have that channel, so yeah, it's like
it came in here,
down and then skipped.
It skipped, and this is what Matsumoto saw. He saw them skipping.
Really?
Yes. He literally has a diagram showing them skipping, bouncing and coming up and down.
Does he in the book?
Yeah.
Where? Show me.
Now let me get this mapping
sure.
first.
Oh man.
Yes.
Look at this.
Yeah, but I know this is spiral twisted two-stranded thing. It's all there.
It's exactly
Look,
it.
here, it's skipping here.
Yeah. Wow. And he was doing most of these just as like a high voltage discharge, right?
Here, stupid
Onto a
simple
witness plate?
experiments. No, like a 1 millimeter lead wire.
Yeah.
3 pulses of mains electricity in potassium hydroxide in a water in a copper folded petri dish.
Does it still work without the electrolyte, or does that?
Well, you need something to allow the conductive, and also the potassium is a good idea because it gives some feed structure.
Yeah.
It's literally in one of these things, he literally shows this earlier on. Let me do this.
Yeah, sure.
And there's the structure with the thing coming in at the back. Look. Structure thing coming in the back.
Yep.
Yep. This is what we see, this ring over ring over ring.
Right.
That's what we see.
Yeah.
That's what we see on the stars on
VEGA?
No, on Suhas Raukal's fuel. Yeah. But there you go. Boink, boink, boink.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, combined rings, and then it's digging through the channel there.
This is just what you're seeing.
Wow. Here, show that.
Yeah, like, here we go. Matsumoto nailed it again.
Crazy.
He just didn't know the internal structure.
Right.
He knew there's a spherical thing and it's doing the job.
Right. He was so close, though.
Oh my God,
I mean,
so
look at
close.
that.
I know, so close. But that's like maybe 2 skipping marks. But this thickness here, if you look at the measurement here, that's ballpark what the skin of these things are.
Yeah.
So
that would be the non-radiating boundary.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think?
Well, the non-radiating boundary is here. This is the kind of stuff that gets accreted onto the outside.
Yeah. So the structure itself is about 20 microns, and the non-radiating boundary is like 60.
It's different scales.
Well, sure.
Yeah. But they're quantized.
The standard,
typically quantized.
Right.
Right.
And so I wonder if that, because this is about 60 microns that he's showing here. I wonder if that radius that you pointed out, the discoloration of that impact site is going to be about that. Like maybe that's your non-radiating boundary. It was kind of around the structure.
Yeah, because the 20 microns appears to be the apple.
Right. Exactly.
Right. That's the bit that really gets affected.
Right. But your total monopole.
Zone, yeah.
Right.
That's the non-radiating boundary.
Right.
Yeah. There we go. It's got more detritus on it, but
where's this?
This is the start of the impact area.
Okay.
So
the bottom right is the impact zone?
Yeah.
Same deal.
Same deal, basically. Of the order of 20 microns. I explained that at the beginning.
I think really we do the map. We see if we find anything really interesting. But like you've got the whole story here.
Yeah.
Like what with we've seen in water and we've seen in plasma.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we've seen the 2 kind of places
Yep.
this is most likely to occur in
Yep.
most systems you're ever going to develop, and you can see the whole history of the death of a structure here, and you can see the whole history of the death of structures in Bingzhen and Huang's system. It's done. It's done. It's just going to be finesse.
Right. Well, it's time for the engineers to get to it.
Yeah.
Right. I get to retire after nearly a grueling year in the field of physics, and now it's time.
Now it's time to move on. Go back to drumming.
That is the loose plan. That is the loose plan. Yeah, I would like to see if we can find one more of these impact sites.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But I do think that we should try to get to the blue dot guy.
Yeah, blue dot guy,
and then the inside.
Inside of the inside.
Yes,
definitely
have to, and probably the outside of the inside as well.
Yeah, but my God.
Yeah, I mean, even if we did nothing else,
this information right here is totally priceless.
Yeah.
It's completely, along with what was observed on Bingzhen and Huang, totally priceless. Wow, what an honor and a pleasure. I know, all joking aside, it really is an immense honor to be doing this work. Here we go, look. This is the impact area, and you can see the filaments coming out here.
Oh.
Like veins.
Look at that.
I wonder if we can increase the contrast here or whatever. Is it going to work?
Oh, that's interesting because you can, even if they're buried a little bit, you can see where they're kind of elevated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Like mountain range ridges. Incredible. So it actually looks like there's two main things that came out.
Yeah.
And this spread out over here.
Yeah.
And this spread out over here.
Kind of an interesting angle for them to take off at, though. I wonder if that's kind of, you have your vector of travel for the structure, but maybe these are your it's rotating diagonally as it goes. So when it hits,
yeah,
it spins off that rotation, but it's still
and
traveling.
it might hit here first,
oh, and it does
then hit there.
Right, and it does kind of curve up a little bit.
Well, if you actually,
so maybe you had a little bit of English on it.
Yeah,
in it.
It's just great. It's just great though. Like so, we'll put a thing across the channel there, and we've got like these bits here. So, I mean, that's raising up what?
2 microns?
Yeah, it's 2 microns. We established it was
Yep.
2 microns, didn't we?
Yep.
And that's very clear there. Look at that across there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just one there.
Well, that's one, but like, is it partly in the surface? You know that.
Right.
Yeah. So this one up here, 6 to 7. Yeah, it's like half in. That would be half in and half out. Right.
Right.
That's the height, but the width.
Right.
is 2 microns.
Right.
So it's just, it's all a little bit of magic, really. What is the distance across between this one here and this one here?
Pretty big.
65.
Oh. Well, there's your.
I don't think that's particularly significant. I think this is more relevant. Anyway, you know, that's what it is. We'll save that. Second touchdown. And then we'll set up a map area. You see, look, looks like we got a ball there.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we got a ball there.
How did we miss those before?
What?
How did we miss those?
Different BSD, SED. You don't see the contrast. Like if we go over here at SED, you don't see the contrast between the different elements. Yeah, like if I go like that, you don't see it.
Yep.
If you go over here, you don't see the morphology enough.
Right.
You do kind of see it there, but you don't see that it's prone from the surface. Maybe you'd see that one, but like at that time, we're focusing on the we're focusing on these things, you know.
Yep.
So what I think I'm going to do is we've definitely got one of our shiny flecks here. So I might do an area that's kind of like this area where you're going in and out of the sulfur waves, or this one. So do you have a particular preference?
You're gonna let me pick?
Yeah, why not?
Oh my god.
The responsibility.
Oh my god. What about this little guy? What about
there's a little shiny bit there. That looks interesting. We've got a fleck there.
Yeah.
Got some interesting stuff going
So
on
maybe,
over there.
yeah, so maybe this whole zone with this,
Whatever this
vacancy
little thing is.
as the center. Travel up a little bit.
Yeah, but what I'm worried about when you get to the edges, it's kind of, what is that one bit there? When you get to the edges, you end up by having too much curvature.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to do this without necessarily
Yeah, because you have to read focus.
doing the focusing.
Yeah.
Sure. So.
Okay, I think that's probably enough for me. It's nearly the end. I do a review in a few seconds, so maybe I can find that. Let me see if I can find that section for you.
This
one for the road.
Yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure. We have a crash point here. It kind of started to come in over here. Just like we saw on Bendall Huang's, interacting with the material. It almost looks like you've got waves of interaction here, just like we know it did with Bendall Huang. It kind of maybe touched down here, like was observed by Takaaki Matsumoto, and then it started to doing the standard sort of 50% in channel. There seems to be some spheres here which may or may not be substructures being dumped down. And then the major crash zone is here, which disrupted the structure so much so that these filaments that were observed by Matsumoto clearly, and we've got another little creature over here, by the way, which is awesome. Look at him. He's got a broken head. I wonder
if that's another carbon slug up there.
I don't know. I think I have to image this because it looks like it might have come from something under here, and it's come through.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Oh, like dear, sorry. I might have to look at that. Anyway, this is what happens, and this has gone under the surface. It's gone under the surface here, and it's come up here, and then it's gone back under the surface, and then it's coming up through these three zones here, and it's going down here, something happened, maybe it's still under here, and we've got a couple of balls down here. That might have been where that ended up. We have another feature down here. Is that where it ended up? Don't know, but this is interesting because it breached into, it went into, ducked into, came up again here, and then we've got 2 out of 3 here, and it kind of follows round. We've got a branch here, but these two kind of come together again, and then it splits again, and this one goes off and dies somewhere over here.
It looks like it's still.
Yeah, it might be influencing there, and this is just where like you go on forever. But it's this one that went north, up here, ducking and diving, and ended up with a lovely ball here with the carbon and stuff going around it, and the calcium and sulfur in the deposit zone up here. Whatever was left of this structure, which didn't detonate and go everywhere here, came up here and went off here, and we looked at that earlier. So this is really, truly awesome data. So with that, thank you very much for your time, and I will see you in the next video.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a couple of graphics. And I wanted to say that what you've seen today is supporting what was seen by Matsumoto with his iron and carbon, but also with how should I put this? And now I've lost my second screen. Great. Not having a lot of luck today. Oh no, it's definitely there. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. We'll go like that, and we'll go down here, and we will go here. Boink. Yeah, so you can see here that just as you saw in the work of Malcolm Bendall, analysed by myself and Phil Dubois, we had a lot of fun this week. At the end of one of those carbon structures, there was this iron-rich crenellated sphere. And in this field of carbon you have here, there are these filaments, just as was observed by Matsumoto. And I think one of the key images of Matsumoto where he totally nailed it, and we showed it today, was this one. It's on page 289 of Steps to the Discovery of Electronuclear Collapse. And it's where he has this carbon filament here, carbon tube generated from microball lightning. And he literally has the blisters, those same blisters that we had observed. So congratulations to Takaaki Matsumoto. And I hope to get some better images of this when I visit him again, his family rather. But what this shows here on this particular image here is effectively mirrored on the sample from the thunderstorm generator. And that is that these iron-rich crenellated spheres are synthesized by a macro ball lightning. They are subquanta of the macro ball lightning. And you can imagine that the same kind of thing would be going on in the extreme charge separation and extreme hydrodynamic shear of a meteorite coming into the Earth's atmosphere. And I was discussing this with Phil earlier today, that it's extremely weird that Malcolm Bendall was first outed on the Joe Rogan show by Randall Carlson, who is the headliner for the Cosmic Summit. And this is all originally the Cosmic Tuscan website and the Younger Dryas comet impact theory as one way of understanding the cataclysm that happened, let's say, around about 11,700 years ago or something like that. I'm not an expert in it, but isn't it weird that this week we found more evidence of ball lightning, but in this case, it's not only showed the explosion products here, you've actually got a whole story being told. Now, someone noted that the tracks were dual tracks. Well, so are the tracks here of the echo fuel from Suhas Ralkar. They are dual tracks. And you kind of need to think about why that might be. You can see the glinting lines here, the tracks where it's damaging the material. But if you just look here, for instance, we have two tori coming out of this iron-rich crenellated sphere, and with these typical kind of elements that you get in there, aluminium, titanium, iron, and so on, silicon here, calcium. These are the kind of elements you get synthesized inside these structures. But the story being told, and I asked you to think about this disruption circle here, this disruption circle, and the fact that this is the same diameter where the tornado hits and disrupts material as one of the n-1 THORs of the structure. And that I'm saying that this bit interacts with the copper oxide in the case here of the DHX2 reactor of Jurrien Huang. And you can see it's eating a channel out here before the overall structure collides in, and that after one has collided in and died, sometimes it can spew out its guts. And we've shown in many, many cases that the substructures can travel away and they can break into their sub-substructures, and that these can leave a trail of carbon-rich material behind them. Well, with that in mind, I've got a little bit of analysis to do of the impact zone with respect to our sacred geometry, and I'm going to bring that up now. Just bear with me. Just give me a second here. So I will share the deep zoom image so that you can all have a look around it. And we've got it at 2 different levels, and you can really, really understand what's gone on with this impact site. But to a degree, what you have here is a microcosm of what you could imagine could be created by a meteorite as it's coming into the atmosphere, and it's creating that plasma. The plasma is, as we know, the same kind of thing that's going on in the VEGA experiment of Jurrien that produced those ball lightning and those different synthesized materials and those iron-rich crenellated spheres at the end of these debris fields. You can imagine the self-similar structure coming in, and billions and billions of these things being synthesized as the plasma is created and as the extreme hydrodynamic shear is caused as it's coming into the atmosphere. And that when these things collide with the ground, you're effectively seeing what you're seeing in this data that we acquired this week. So here we go. I'm going to go like that, and we're going to go like that. Okay, so just to walk through this, first off, down here is where we believe the impact first came in. Now, that is very similar to that which you see here. As it comes in, it widens out. We saw the same thing with the microball lightning with the HHO of Dr. Roy Shinamaza on the 10 yen coin. Of course, it was on copper, it was taking up the oxygen, and it was synthesizing sulfur in that process. So this, I believe, is the first touchdown that we're seeing here. And if I maybe can brighten this up for you, let's see if I can brighten that up for you. Photoshop. We go like that. Is going to be brightened. Let me do that and do that. No, it's not going to let me do that. I don't know why. It's because I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. So maybe brighten that up. That's that bit brighter for you. Okay. All right. Okay, so down here is where our impact first came in. Yeah. And there's this wavy pattern going on here. And it's orthogonal or transverse to the direction of travel. That may be significant. Certainly we saw with Bendall Huang that it had like finger scraping through. So is this like the tornadic end? For me, this supports the idea that there's a rotation going round. And in fact, that was also observed by Takaaki Matsumoto. And I have shared this at higher fidelity since I got it off his video. But here is the tornadic channel here. Okay? So that, I am saying, is similar to what you are seeing here. The thing is traveling in this direction. It starts off with a narrow tail and it starts interacting with the material. And we saw this same thing on the fused quartz of one of the Lion reactors. I believe it was even Lion 1 or 2. And then you can see the head of the structure here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm saying that that is the same thing, kind of thing that you're seeing here. And on the Lion reactor, it was also slightly at an angle. So I'm suggesting that this is the vortical tail. And I'm going to do this to support it. Because here, you can see that the width of the disruption beam coming out is about the width of the channel. And of course it would be because, you know, this is the circular area where I was saying it does the disruption. When you looked at these clips here, this area here is the width of the material that gets disrupted. You can see it physically disrupted in this case and physically deformed in the case of the aluminium here, aluminum. And the other thing is, if you look at the boundary layer here of the non-radiating boundary, it is in fairly good agreement with the damaged material, which we can see in the frame there. So you can see this curvature here. Okay? Fairly good agreement with that. Then I think if you go along a little bit further, you can see here, again, the channel is disrupted here, okay, as it goes along. And at this point, it's bounced off here. So the bulk of the structure is above the surface, but the tornadic tail is impinging in. And we saw exactly this kind of thing going on in Bendall Huang's system, where you saw the fact that the actual tornado was reaching down and touching the surface. So I think that's what's going on here. And if we go on further, you can see in this case, which is very near the touchdown point here, okay, there are these regular spots where it almost looks like it got hung up here and here and here. So it's almost bouncing, okay, and you've almost got a vortical pattern here, coming in like that, vortex coming in to this central spot here. And we saw these kind of patterns extremely clearly on the iron base of the cardioid infarction sample from Henk Jurrien. Okay, so it's very, very similar. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I did there. There. Very similar. You see these kind of hexagonal pillars, okay, where the tornadic beam would have touched down here, and that's the disruption area, okay? And note that if we go here, whilst this is disrupted here, this material is disrupted, there is still a spherical type object there, okay? So it's interacting there, and one could argue that perhaps it hasn't quite dug quite so deeply in at this point. Okay, so I think that there's a couple of points here, like maybe here, 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 where it got stuck a little bit of time and cleaned these areas off. Okay, and then we get along to here. There's another one here. You can see it. And so let's put that there. No, the next one there. So I've again put that on there. And so where it's at this point here, it might have got stuck for a while. And you can see that this area on this side is in line with the apple. And we know the apple does very, very strong disruption of the material. Okay. Moreover, there appears to be a dent in the center here, similar to that which we saw on one of the sub-THORs, which this is in the DHX2 sample from Bendall Huang that we reviewed in flux capacitor. Okay, so I think the core of the structure is attacking the surface there approximately, and that perfectly lines up with this spot here and the boundary. So we've got the same scale structure throughout this. I've only done a couple of the path movement here. So we have it touching down somewhere over here, coming along, creating these tornadic slices through the material, almost transverse to the direction. And in this case, it really did hit the deck quite hard. And so you have the non-radiating boundary interacting and nearly no effect on the outside. Then it bounced a bit up, came along, okay, came along, okay. And then I've got the last point where we are now hitting down up here. And we are again producing a channel that is the width of the disruption, the tornado beam here. So I think this is totally conclusive evidence. And when you go back to this area, you can see actually that the filaments start on the non-radiating boundary. Okay, this one's buried, but this one roughly starts on the boundary. This one starts on the boundary, and the one above here starts just outside the boundary here and goes up to our iron-rich crenellated sphere with a shepherd's crook over the top, the same kind of thing that we've seen in the Jurrien experiment in abundance. Okay? And it's amazing how this ducks and dives under here, but I haven't got it on this particular image. So I think possibly that this thread, if it didn't come out at this time when it bumped down, it might have come down maybe at this point when it was stuck, right? So the idea that you see this is exactly on the non-radiating boundary, okay? So what I imagine is that this very nicely spiraling one that goes all the way up here, goes all the way up here and branches again and digs under here and goes up here and goes up here and branches here and goes up here and then branches here and digs under here, okay? That this one occurred in this resting position, okay? When it was bound to this hexagonal spot. And I will bring in the material from the cardioid infarction sample. So you will see precisely these vortical patterns with the hexagon. It's extremely clear. It's extremely clear. So I think that's what happened here. And that this one in particular, if I take it off, it's exactly on the non-radiating boundary. Exactly on the non-radiating boundary for that one, and then the so that's based on that one, but then we have another one here, and that is based on that one. And when that is located there, when the apple is located on this disruption zone here, and when the damage to, or the dent here is matching with the sub-THOR flux loop here, then we have these ones coming out, these three coming out of the non-radiating boundary on this side, and this one coming out of the non-radiating boundary on the top side here. So it wasn't one event. So there you go, Phil. That's my best guess. It was two events that caused, or two touchdowns in particular. That one, which is locked into that position, and that one, which is locked into this position, which allowed for the emissions of these beams. And then it bounced up again, and it then went over here and did another trail along there. So that is it. So you can imagine that these billions of these structures would come in when a meteorite was coming into the atmosphere, would be synthesized, and it would create incredibly vast numbers of these iron-rich crenellated spheres. This is absolutely 100% not contamination. It is a substructure, a fractal substructure of the ball lightning that was synthesized in the thunderstorm generator. Well done, Malcolm Bendall. This here is 100% certainly synthesized in the ball lightning, which was videoed in the Jurrien VEGA Valley experiment. And these are exactly the same as those observed by Takaaki Matsumoto. So between this data, this data, this data, and this data, boom! We have a science. Welcome, my friends, to the new dawn out of an old age. Right. If you got any questions, then I'll take them now. Thank you very, very much to all those that supported this stream today. Bo Sinclair, Above All Things Love, Vanilla Isis, who supported it twice. Thank you, Lithnick. Thank you, Misunderstood in your absence. Thank you, Claire Westwood. Very, very kind of you for your support today. I'll see if you've got any questions. If not, it's 1:22 here. But yes, this really is a science, guys. It's a total science. And whilst Matsumoto wasn't able to show things with the fidelity of the things that we've been able to see, oh my, did he absolutely nail it. You've got the vortical thing here. And this was also observed in LENR reactors by Dr. Alexander Parkhomov. So this was observed by Matsumoto, by Alexander Parkhomov, by the late Neil Crichton Gold, obviously the late Matsumoto, and now by Malcolm Bendall. The vortical beam interacting with the substrate. And what has also been observed is these very many carbon filaments in beautiful quality, absolutely stunning quality in Benjamin Huang's system. But yes, the late Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto had got it first. He had got it first. Thank you for your contribution to science. Thank you, Matthew Reynolds. That's very, very kind. That's fine. You know, if if 1,000 people made your donation, it would make a huge difference. So Phil Dubois, Bob, settle a question. Is the disruption zone being sucked or blown? The disruption zone is depressurizing, or rather, it is lowering the pressure of the physical vacuum on it, and the material falls apart in my view, and I've said that for a very long time. So it's kind of like gravity. It's condensing matter into that tornado, and matter is doing it so quick with such a discrete fall off that matter falls apart. Thank you, Corky Goss. Wow, that's just fantastic. Thank you. It really, really means a lot. Yeah, well done, Malcolm. Well done. I mean, you know, between you and Jurrien Huang, you have two functional technologies. Again, I'm pretty sure that Bin was a little bit annoyed that his system is obviously employing the copper in the pipes. But this can be resolved because we are starting to implicitly understand these beasts. And, you know, all equipment has a mean time between failure. And so by understanding their life cycle and what they need, we can, you know, employ them. And in your case, you're employing them, it would seem, to change the gas output of an internal combustion engine. And in Jurrien Huang's case, he's increasing the thermal gain over electrical input, or even, you know, if it was a pure cavitation system driven by a rotary device, then it could be just mechanical input. And so these systems together have the potential to profoundly change the course of humanity. So thank you, Jurrien Huang, and thank you, Malcolm Bendall. There's some debate going on about the naming convention. Maybe I should leave that to you guys. You seem to be so good at it. Yeah, so Malcolm's reminded me that he sent enough samples to keep me stuck as a peripheral to an SEM for the best part of a year. But fortunately, that's not the purpose of all of them. We are going to be looking for sulfur 34 over 32. That's number one. That would actually lift both boats of Malcolm and Jurrien Huang, because sulfur 34 is the intermediary of the fusion of two oxygen 17s that then would fission to produce the carbon 12 and the neon 22. Then we're going to be looking for oxygen 18 over oxygen 16, and this is an element that's already been observed in cavitation systems being synthesized by Alexander Shishkin, and also by a facility at Dubna, which is classified research, but it was talked about by Russians in a recent discussion forum. So oxygen 18 over oxygen 16 would be an important find. If we see the carbon 13 over carbon 12, this would support the stepwise transmutation and support the fact that the carbon 14 that we've already seen is not from some form of contamination that is taking up 20% of the carbon in the deposit, that it is actually carbon being synthesized from stepwise transmutation from carbon 12 through carbon 13. And if we importantly see nitrogen 15 over nitrogen 14, this would also support the stepwise transmutation, and it would encouragingly, in the data that we presented the last 2 days that we captured this week, the actual structures that are based on the ball lightning and the ball lightning breakup products, these bubbly type carbon and nitrogen rich tubes, they might not be captured nitrogen from the air. Of course, air is 78% nitrogen. It might actually be synthesized nitrogen from the fusion of hydrogen, electrons, antineutrinos, and carbon atoms. And if that's the case, then it really does support the notion that the system is producing nitrogen. And then hopefully if we can gain access to a thunderstorm generator and maybe run it in the presence of a process gas mass spectrometer, we might be able to see an abundance of nitrogen-15 in the gas from the generator itself. And maybe those things can be achieved before the conference, but I think that this piece of data right here, this deep impact of a ball lightning structure in multiple places, verifying the work of so many authors that we've talked about for so many years, all in the one image that you see here, all in the one image that you will have at ludicrous res in the deep zoom file that you will have access to study in depth and work out any more of the key proportions going on. This really kind of like closes the argument and is a beautiful merging of the fields of what caused the end of the last golden age, one might argue, and we're literally understanding the phenomena that may bring us the new golden age. Okay, any thoughts on the thick iron oxide veins running through limestone bedrock underneath the Giza Plateau and just coincidentally into the Osiris Shaft box room? Is this normal in deep limestone? I don't know, but perhaps it's something to do with these phenomena. I think that the pyramid was a very controlled device, very well designed, very well located, very well oriented. And it's essentially a solid state device other than what I would argue would be the particle emissions to get the whole thing running from the missing granite. So I don't know, but I would argue that in some mineral deposits, they will be due to ball lightning and similar structures. And in fact, Matsumoto in his book says that volcanoes are likely to be this process going on underground, and we may have to rethink so much of geology, so much of astronomic observations, so much about where the nature of atoms and matter comes from and where it can go to, the nature of what constitutes living organisms and life and conscious entities. It's just absolutely mind-boggling the amount of things that this might upend, and it really is. It's just amazing. I'm just totally blown away with it every time I think about it, which is I think about it a lot. So you can imagine how much my mind is blown away. Yeah, and Phil, about big. There's no necessity for the Big Bang. No necessity whatsoever. And I think if they get a better telescope, they're going to see old galaxies even further out. And if they get a better telescope, they're going to see old galaxies further out. Hi, Brian. It's great you're alive. I'm happy about that. So Joe Valachi says, so using the as above, so below, does this also explain the building of galaxies? Yes, I've talked about that. You can go and look at remoteview.icu and search for making galaxies, or you can go to the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. It was stated as a possible thing by Winston Bostick, the man that coined the phrase plasmoid. And we've essentially verified it with the simple ultra experiment that a 5-year-old can do in 7 minutes by the forms that it takes. And I've talked about this many times, but I think because the form is identical to, for instance, a bar spiral galaxy, it is implicit that these structures are producing gravitational forces and gravitational waves, and therefore it's highly likely that they are doing unification of the forces at the phase singularity of the fractal toroidal moment, which argued in detail, and because the fractal toroidal moment can create the Aharonov bomb effect at that phase singularity, it can cohere matter at any temperature, and this is what you need to get these 100,000 spoons in the space of one spoon, as I spoke of earlier. Yes, Phil Dubois says the center of the plasmoid, or the fractal toroidal structure. To be fair to Bostic, he was always taking at least 2 plasmoids and joining them together and calling those a plasmoid. But there's no separation in terms of the understanding. A one current ring, calling that a plasmoid, it isn't the same thing as 2 together. You start to get to the toroidal moment, which was never discussed by him, never discussed by Shoulders, and mostly because it wasn't recognized in the West until 1997. So it's not unreasonable to think that Bostic would never have considered that part of electrodynamics. And so it's useful to call it a plasmoid from the point of referencing back to the work of Bostic, but it does not explain what it can do. It's just a name. The fractal toroidal current structures and the very simple, at least XYZ orientation orthogonally, lead to the fractal toroidal moment at the NX level, and this is what produces the non-radiating boundary without having to have both the oscillating electromagnetic field and the oscillating electric field and the oscillating magnetic field. You don't need to have that with a fractal toroidal moment. So it's just not accurate to call these things alone a plasmoid, although it's useful from a historical historical perspective. Really, the name is ball lightning. These are these natural phenomena. They are ball lightning. And the ball lightning manifests in different ways depending on where it, like what matter. Okay, sorry about that. I had to switch to my phone connection because I don't know, but the internet got cut here. So I am now back. So thank you for patiently waiting for me. So I'll say this was Ode, a Deep Impact, where we saw a hop, skip and a jump and a partial breakup of a ball lightning on the inside of the Malcolm Bendall Thunderstorm Generator, which verifies that it is a ball lightning based technology, and it is yet another example of this technology that was first observed in extreme detail by Takaaki Matsumoto in his book Steps to the Discovery of Electronuclear Collapse, and it's a testament to the tenacity of people like Takaaki Matsumoto and Malcolm Bendall that we are at this stage today where we can talk about real technologies that deliver on the promise of this beautiful gift of nature. So thank you very much for your time. Buenas noches, dobre noc, good night.